you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. UPI reports health officials in Virginia on Monday said norovirus likely caused an outbreak of illness earlier in the month at a Chipotle Mexican grill. The Loudoun County Health Department said more than 135 people became ill after eating at the restaurant in Sterling from July 13th through July 16th. Dr. David Goodfriend, director of the department, said 2 ill patrons have tested positive for the same strain of norovirus. Based on symptoms reported in these preliminary laboratory results, the cause of the outbreak is believed to be norovirus. The health department is not aware of any customers becoming ill since the reopening of the facility last Wednesday. Customers reported symptoms of stomach pain, dehydration, and nausea after eating at the Chipotle in Sterling, Virginia. Norovirus, also known as the winter vomiting bug, often occurs after a restaurant employee fails to properly wash their hands after using a restroom. Chipotle has dealt with norovirus issues in the past, notably when nearly 120 Boston College students fell sick after an outbreak at a restaurant near campus in 2016. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports Martin Shkreli, the pharmaceutical entrepreneur vilified as the pharma bro for raising the price of a life-saving drug by 5,000%, said on Monday in federal court that he would not testify in his security fraud trial. Shkreli's statement to U.S. District Judge Kiyo Matsumoto came after jurors had been dismissed for the day in the middle of the testimony from the U.S. prosecutor's last witness in the case, an FBI agent investigating Shkreli. Prosecutors could rest their case as early as Tuesday, and closing arguments could come by the end of the week. Shkreli outraged patients and U.S. lawmakers by raising the price of the anti-infection drug Daraprim to $750 a pill from $13.50 a pill in 2015 when he was CEO of Turing Pharmaceuticals. The charges he now faces are not related to Turing, but rather they focus on Shkreli's management of his previous drug company, Retrofit Incorporated, and of hedge funds MSMB Capital and MSMB Healthcare between 2009 and 2014. Prosecutors have said Shkreli lied about MSMB's finances to lure investors and concealed devastating trading losses from them. They said he paid investors back with money and shares misappropriated from Retrofit, which he founded in 2011, using sham settlement and consulting agreements. Shkreli has pled not guilty to security fraud and conspiracy charges. On July 5th, U.S. District Judge Matsumoto ordered Shkreli not to talk about his case in or around the courthouse after he held an impromptu news conference days earlier. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
An update now on a legal battle emerging around the Onion News Network's own Jode Kressbeckler. After the shocking story yesterday that a group of assailants attacked Congressman William Cummings, tied him to a horse, and dragged him through a briar patch, some are now saying these statements from Mr. Kressbeckler last week may have incited the attack.
Bootlegging Congressman Cummings ought to be tied to a horse and dragged through a briar patch.
Mr. Kressbeckler's show is billed as an opinion and entertainment program.
Yes,
and he even calls himself nothing but a caterwauling old badger, so the claim that he would incite people to violence seems pretty far-fetched.
He displayed a map of Congressman Cummings' home in relation to the nearest briar patch, told his viewers where to purchase a, quote, good pulling horse, and used a life-size dummy of Congressman Cummings to demonstrate effective knot-tying techniques.
Right. You know, I think most reasonable people would see that as simply a ribald political satire.
Right.
Briar patch is obviously a metaphor for the prickly political atmosphere in Washington, and drag from a horse means something else.
Makes sense to me.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. Just dial on in toll-free here to join us at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. You can Skype on in here. It's Skype username LRN.FM. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
Coming up, Johnson, you're going to be sharing with us a story about 10 ways that you're making your life harder than it has to be.
Yep.
Is that right? So we'll get through, hopefully, as
you
many of those.
specifically. No, just
Me?
kidding.
Okay. Hopefully, who couldn't use a little bit of tightening up, right?
No, not necessarily you. I mean you, the listener.
Becoming more efficient, happier, and all of that. So we'll get into that. Also, last night we started a editorial piece by some lemonade-hating monster. And indeed, he says in his title, "You may call me a monster, but I'm glad that girl's lemonade stall got shut down." And he's referring to, I believe, the story out of the UK of a little girl, like 3.5 years old, who had a lemonade stand that was set up nearby some kind of concert. So there were a fair amount of people, walking about, and good location to set up a stand. Cops showed up, 4 of them, as a matter of fact, and they issued her and her father a fine of approximately, I think it was like $150 worth of British pounds. And
no, it's 150 pounds, I believe.
Okay, so $200 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Anyway, it was a fair amount, and well, it was an unfair amount. Any amount is unfair, but it was a lot. And so the little girl was, upset, crying. She believed that she had done something wrong. And this man, Duncan Hothersall, over at NewStatesman.com, believes that she did do something wrong. So we just barely gotten into this story where he is claiming that there's 500,000 cases of food poisoning each year in the UK alone, and that one of the reasons why we have stringent controls on who can sell food and drink, especially in unsealed containers, is to try to cut those figures down. And street stalls in general are regulated because we have a system of taxation, rights, and responsibilities in this country, which underpins our functioning society. He goes on to say regulation is a social and economic good, and that's the point at which we got derailed into an argument about that last night.
Whether
if you want to hear that,
net good or not.
If you want to hear that, you're welcome to tune in to probably the last, the last segment or so of last night's show. You can download that anytime you want over at freetalklive.com. Basically, Mark was arguing in favor that regulation is a good thing, although he was talking about market regulations, which I don't think you should call certification regulation, but we won't rehash it too far. So the arch statist...
I think regulation is a good thing if you're talking about air pressure.
There you go.
You don't want to have things like exploding on you.
That's not what he's talking about in this particular case, but it's also pretty unfair, he says, to criticize the hardworking public servants who acted in this case for doing the job they are no doubt underpaid to do. He's referring to the police. For the council to say, quote, "We expect our enforcement officers to show common sense," unquote, as they canceled the fine, is all very well, but I'm willing to bet they are given precious little leeway in their training when it comes to who gets fined and who doesn't.
Well, he doesn't understand their training very well because they certainly have all the leeway they want.
What do you mean by that?
Well, in many cases, in their charters, these police departments, claim to use discretion.
That's correct.
Handing out fines and that sort of thing. Discretion means you have, discretion, right? You can choose not to do it.
They get that choice. As a police officer, they have that ability. And any cop that tells you, at least, in the U.S. or the Western world political systems, any cop that tells you that he doesn't have such a thing, that he does not have discretion, that he has to arrest, is probably lying to you, unless you just committed a murder in front of him or something like that. Because there are certain crimes on which they really don't have discretion, as I understand it. This is having, we had Brad Jardis on the show, former cop. This was his explanation of it to me, is that, if a cop witnesses you commit some sort of violent act, for instance, then at that point he shall arrest you. He is, duty bound to do something.
I think in New Hampshire they have to arrest on a felony.
Yes, generally it is considered, that law is considered regarding felonies. I suspect that they could still look the other way on, let's call them non-violent felonies, or felonies that don't have a victim, perhaps, but I don't know what the official, writing of the law is on that.
Sure.
But you better believe that if a cop sees you commit a murder in front of him, he's not going to use discretion in that particular instance.
I can assure you the police in this town have used discretion when it comes to enforcing vandalism laws against this particular property that we're broadcasting now. When people have come and vandalized this property and they've caught them, they've let them go and said, don't do that again. They didn't even make them come and apologize.
I don't know where you got that information from.
I was there.
Okay, well, you're talking about some other incident, because there was another incident where they did catch the person, and that person did apologize.
To the police officer?
To me.
Well, they didn't apologize to me.
No, you're talking about a different incident.
Fine.
So I'm telling you about an incident where
the officer let the guy go. My car was vandalized here at the studio, and the officer's like, it's okay, kid. Don't worry about it. Don't do it again.
Yeah, I understand. You're talking about a different situation, so I'm just going to correct you on that's not the situation every time with every officer, okay?
Nope, it's not.
So anyway, yes, the cops
I'm just pointing out that they can use discretion,
right.
And sometimes their discretion stinks.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And so in the case of a little girl selling lemonade, they absolutely have the ability to use their discretion. But going on here, he says if the council is handing out apologies, it should likely be issuing one to its officers as well. He says, but these are decent folk being persecuted by a nanny state. He's quoting the objections that he might receive. He says, I hear you cry, and I stand impervious, I'm afraid, because I've heard that line a lot recently, and it's really beginning to grate. It's the same argument used against speed cameras and parking fines. How often have you heard those caught out proclaim themselves as law-abiding citizens and bemoan the infringement of their freedom? I have news for you. If you break the speed limit, or park illegally, or indeed break health and safety or trading regulations, you are not a law-abiding citizen.
Nobody is. Right? Nobody is.
I bet this guy thinks of himself as one.
I don't know what he thinks. By this standard, no one is a law-abiding citizen, because if you have gone 1 mile over the speed limit at one point,
you roll through a stop sign.
Right, roll through a stop sign. And by the way, that's the point about discretion that I like to point out with police officers is when was the last time you saw a police officer pull over another police officer in a cruiser and give him a ticket for rolling through a stop sign?
Never.
Am I to believe that this does not occur? Because I mean, you know, it's a normal way of driving, is that at times not to come to a full and complete rock back stop.
You're using your faculties to observe the intersection.
Right.
Regardless of whether or not this guy believes that he's law abiding or whatnot, I guarantee you that this guy believes that he knows what's right. So if it came down to this guy breaking a law, he would see it as, meh, it's a minor thing. Come on. It's not a serious thing. These things over here. These are serious.
Parking tickets.
I know what's right, and the police and the law enforcement obviously know what's right. The voters have decided on what is correct and what's not. Clearly, majority rule. I mean, that's how society and civilizations are formed. This is why we have the social contract. Clearly,
I'm not sure that this guy necessarily thinks that. Like this guy sounds like very much like one of these. If we don't enforce, and I agree with him on this, if they choose to consistently not enforce lemonade stand rules, Western civilization does actually crumble. So
you agree with that?
I do. I'll make my point.
Yeah, I want to hear this
I've made it before, and it's
tongue in cheek, right?
No, it's not. Look, when you say, okay, 5-year-olds, lemonade stands, we're just not going to, this is good for everybody, we're just not going to enforce this rule. Well, the person who has the lemonade store, and these things exist, that has paid money for a brick-and-mortar store,
fees,
for the licensing and everything like that, could very well have, and this happened in, I believe it was...
Have you ever seen a lemonade store just... He said these things exist, and you were like, yeah, I'm sure.
I've seen lemonade stands at the county fair. Does that count?
I don't think it counts.
Fine, a Jamba Juice. Okay, so I set
up... How about Orange Julius?
Yep. I set up my lemonade stand, and I bring along my child for decoration in front of the Jamba Juice.
Okay.
How do you think Jamba Juice is going to feel about that?
Who cares?
Okay, fine. You don't care. So I'm going to start getting the business because I'm going to be able to undercut them. I don't have bricks and mortar. I don't have regulations. I don't have all kinds of stuff. My juice is just cheaper.
All right, you're going to explain to us how society is going to crumble because of a little girl's lemonade stand here in moments, or it not being enforced on her. 855-450 free.
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur. The vet wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work. So I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years.
Petey stopped eating. All his hair fell out.
Itching, licking, missing fur.
DINOVITE.com. 859-428-1000.
And then it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin. And all right, I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on. It was awesome.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days. I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years from My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll-free and join us here to bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
Coming up, Johnson's going to share with us 10 ways you're making your life harder. And we're going to get into that. But a little bit more from our Lemonade Fascist coming up here in moments. But first, Mark, Simbi.
Look, you can buy things on Simbi without money. It's a slick and easy-to-use marketplace where you trade your talents for other people's services and abilities. You can forget about the old economy. This is your economy. Simbi.com. You won't believe the diversity of services at Simbi.com. I just saw a friend and listener to the show put up Ask a Libertarian for to Simbi. So you can ask questions of a libertarian for a very small amount of artificial currency.
Whether anyone will pay for that's another question.
There's people doing all kinds of things like that there. So ask a transgendered whatever.
You don't get it if you don't try, right? If you don't try asking for it.
I think that this is more activism than it is intention to earn Simbi, because the price is really low. But anyway, there are hundreds of thousands of people acting within the symbiotic economy. Go get an account at Simbi.com, S-I-M-B-I, as in symbiotic, S-I-M-B-I, and take a look around, post your services, Simbi.com.
Are these all virtual things, or could they be like actual?
They are not all virtual things.
So you could trade like lemon picking services for lemon making services?
You could.
Okay.
So, although I imagine your market will be a little more limited if you have to go locally for things. So,
especially if you're talking about lemons.
Yes, and we are. In this case, the little girl that got in trouble by the police in the UK for running a lemonade stand. One man at newstatesman.com is saying that he wants to see the police cracking down on these kids. Duncan Hothersall, he says he's glad the lemonade stand got shut down. He's
like, get off your lawns.
Yeah. And so what I was doing was pointing out how if the police choose not to enforce these laws, that essentially it brings down the state. Because as I was saying, well, I'm going to explain it to you. All right. So if you give a blanket, anybody can open up a lemonade stand to sell their lemonade, right? Because if you say, well, children can sell lemonade, then, well, are you telling me that when I'm 13 years old I can open a lemonade stand, but when I'm 14 I can't? And at what point does it stop and start being okay? Do I have to bring my little brother or my child for decoration to run the lemonade stand? I mean, if I'm running a lemonade stand but my son's standing there, what's the difference? Because the father was there for this 3.5-year-old. As you can imagine, you're not leaving a 3.5-year-old out there with a pitcher of lemonade, just handing it out to any old buddy who wanders by in one of the most populous cities in Western civilization.
Yeah.
So then you're sort of asking yourself this question. Well, okay, I guess everybody can open a lemonade stand. Fine, we can have these sidewalks littered with stands of people selling things, and basically the businesses behind those sidewalks that are paying for licensure and bricks and mortar and all this other stuff are like, hey, how come we're paying for all this stuff and all of our business is going out here to the people that have less overhead? Let's pray for rain so they all have to go away.
Seems pretty unlikely, this scenario, Mark.
Why do you think these laws exist?
Well, to protect the existing businesses from competition.
Why. Because they had competition.
But there's also such a thing as private property. So if somebody's setting up their lemonade stand on your private property, they have the absolute right to eject you from that particular location.
Admittedly, these regulations are an issue of tragedy of the commons.
Correct.
Certainly. But there's a lot of common land out there that people wander along, and should I be able to impede the sidewalk with my lemonade stand? You may pass through my lemonade stand, but you must look at my lemonade wares as you go. Exactly.
No, they'd probably say that's disorderly conduct.
They would say all kinds of things. They would say I couldn't have a stand on the sidewalk, and you would be upset because I have a child.
Well, no, I think anybody should be able to have a lemonade stand on public land. So
I don't disagree with you.
Right.
I'm just saying that this is a very surreptitious way.
But you haven't seen what you're saying is going to happen. Like, kids with lemonade stands has not resulted in adults with lemonade stands, has not resulted in adults with root beer stands, has not resulted in, that hasn't happened, what you're saying.
I don't know that it hasn't. If you look at early 20th century New York City, you will find that these regulations were put in place for this very reason, Ian, is because people had carts and horses and all this other stuff, and they were trying to sell out, and the businesses are like, it's harder to compete with these people out here that are competing against us and don't have the overhead.
But I don't see a big rush of people going to set up lemonade stands.
You don't now because they have a regulation that prevents
it. It's being waived. I thought you said that waiving the regulation would result in the destruction of society.
For whom is it waived?
They just waived the fine for this little girl.
They did not give the girl a blanket waiver to set up a lemonade stand for the rest of her life on this street corner in London, Ian.
So you're
they
saying
said they're waiving the fine, not the prohibition.
Gotcha. All right. So you believe that if what you're saying is not that if they don't
it's the slippery
enforce
slope
it,
fallacy is what I believe.
Are you saying is if they don't enforce it, or if the ordinance doesn't exist at all?
Consequently, it would be the same thing. There's ordinances all over America that require cities to have illuminating oil inspectors, and they don't.
Yeah.
So that ordinance effectively does not exist. If they do not enforce an ordinance, have a prohibition against the enforcement of an ordinance for long enough, the same thing happens. If they have suddenly the Street Vendor Freedom Act gets passed, then it happens a little faster because it gets press and people are like, oh, wow, I'll open a business, doing whatever on the street.
So, I mean, I do support the idea that you're talking about of people doing basically business disobedience and just not asking for permission. You want to do something? Just do it, and put it out there. Hang out your shingle and advertise your services and do it from your house. I don't care. I would want to see that happen, because if enough people were to do it, they wouldn't be able to enforce on everybody. But unfortunately, most people aren't going to do it because most people don't want to take that kind of risk. They've already taken enough risks just opening their business and whatever investments were required to do that, and they don't want to risk crossing the city and getting involved in some sort of legal conflict. But
if somebody didn't have a lot of money, they could certainly go out and start shining shoes on the street. But
that's true.
At some point or another, they're going to have ill effects. I mean, one might ask, if you like this so much, why aren't you shining shoes?
Who?
You.
Oh, I got all kinds of things to do, and I don't generally ask permission to do them. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. So he says that if you break the speed limit or park illegally or break health and safety and trading regulations, you are not a law-abiding citizen. You are actually the one who's in the wrong. This is the anti-lemonade guy here from newstatesman.com. He goes on to say, and rarely is ignorance an excuse. Speed limits and parking regulations are posted clearly. In the case of the now famous lemonade stand, the father in question is even quoted as saying, quote, I thought they would just tell us to pack up and go home, unquote. So he knew he was breaking the rules, writes this guy.
I'm not entirely clear that you can infer that from what was said. Maybe after they came over, they informed him that they couldn't have it. Maybe that's when he thought he came to that conclusion.
We'll continue. There's a little bit more here, and then your calls and thoughts. Welcome about whatever's on your mind here on Free Talk Live.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA pack technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon. Or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.
Tyler, time to go for our family walk.
Just let me nap a little longer.
You promised we'd get more active.
I know. How come you're so ready to go?
It's Superberry's Aronia berries.
Aronia what?
Aronia berries from superberries.com. They're known for having one of the highest levels of antioxidants that helps with overall wellness.
Where'd you get them?
I ordered them from superberries.com/radio, and right now we can get a free smoothie recipe book with our order. Plus, we can save $4 at checkout.
I can't wait to try them. I'll get the dog.
I'll get the kids.
Choose health. Eat purple. Superberries.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us here on the radio waves. And if you agree with Duncan Hothersall from newstatesman.com, he is saying that he believes that lemonade stands should be cracked down upon, and he is congratulating the police.
They're an abomination!
Well, that's how he sees it. Anybody who's not agreeing with the laws, the ordinances, the regulations, those people are a problem to this man, and he is willing to use whatever kind of violence and force that it takes to put a stop to it.
He's clearly an authoritarian.
Because his precious society, as Mark has pointed out, might crumble if somebody's allowed to do something without asking permission first. By the way, you don't have to ask anybody's permission to get into Bitcoin mining, and one of the ways you can do it is over at pool.bitcoin.com. You go to pool.bitcoin.com, and you can do mining in 2 ways. You can do it where, Mark, the way you and I are doing it,
yes,
where we're hiring pool.bitcoin.com.
Just sign up.
Yeah, to do it for you.
All you need is money.
They will put the money into their equipment that they need to get, and you don't have to worry about any of the server, admin, equipment stuff because, most of us can't do that. I mean, I could probably learn how if I needed to, but I don't have time for that. But if you do know how to do server equipment stuff and you are already able to do your own mining at home, or you have a server at work or something like that, and you want to use that for Bitcoin mining, you can still join pool.bitcoin.com. So you got the 2 options. You can do it as you joining their pool from the outside, or you can invest in their pool. So you go to pool.bitcoin.com, and they will help you calculate what you could make right there on the website. And you can also steer Bitcoin towards being the liberating currency that Satoshi Nakamoto meant it to be. So you don't just make Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com, but you're also doing activism while you sleep. It's pool.bitcoin.com. Let's go to your calls and thoughts, and then just a little bit more from this arch statist who's actually come out and supported a crackdown on children's lemonade stands. Brian is in Los Angeles. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Ian.
Hey.
And I think it's Mark.
Mark and Johnson are
hey.
also here.
There you go. Hey, I just wanted to pass on a funny bumper sticker I saw the other day.
Sure.
I was at a signal where cars were exiting the post office. And so obviously there were some post office workers around 5 o'clock getting off.
Yep.
And in the back of the truck there was a bumper sticker that said, "Don't use the internet for your bills. Mail them." I thought that was sort of hilarious.
This was on a postal service truck or one of their personal trucks?
It was on a personal truck.
Wow.
Coming out of the post office employee parking lot.
They're desperate, huh?
So, yeah, I guess that's their method to try to rescue the post office.
They're going to rely on bills.
Bumper stickers. I guess I'm for that.
For what?
Trying to rescue your business with bumper stickers. Go right ahead. But basically, what the post office has turned into. Largely, they're subsidized by junk mail. I mean, they're basically a junk mail delivery service that does some letter delivery.
Bills.
And package delivery.
It's bills and junk mail for the most part, right?
Well, I mean, it makes sense, right? It's the government mail service, so why wouldn't it increasingly turn into delivering something that you don't want?
Garbage, yeah. Brian?
I just like their marketing plan to rescue their business is to stop using the internet.
Yeah, that's going to happen. Hey, thanks for pointing that out tonight, man. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. We actually haven't had a good post office failure story in a while as far as, normally there's like at least once a year it seems like there's some kind of headline that crops up about how many billions of dollars in the red the post office is, and that they just keep digging the hole deeper and deeper, and as they're the government, so they just can't run a business, even though it's kind of separate from the federal government, but not really. They just can't get it together.
The first thought that came to my mind when you said that is we haven't had a good, you had said we haven't had a good post office failure story in a while, and I was thinking, the first thought that came to my head was, well, can that be true? Like, at least hundreds of thousands of those happen every day when people walk into the post office to send something.
Which is something you have to do a lot. So you spend a lot of time, I don't know how much you want to, I don't want you to give away trade secrets or anything like that, obviously, but you're working for Think Penguin. I don't think that's a secret, which listeners who recall Chris, who was our Friday night co-host, who might be coming back. I hear he might be back in town. But anyway, he's the
I'm sure he'd certainly like to know if he's going to be on this Friday.
Okay, I've heard he's back in town.
Yeah, he is.
He hasn't been on because he's been out of town. But you're his assistant, and you are running all day long, basically, or at least once a day to the post office, and standing in line, I imagine, right?
Yep.
And I suspect you've had some experiences there. Any worth talking about?
Yeah, well, sure. One happened the other day, but it had anything to do with them. That I found that this was just the way, the very nature of the way the building is designed is bad. So they have these post office, this parking lot, right? So there's like, you pull into the parking lot, and on one side you have to pull into these spaces which are sort of perpendicular to the lot itself. So one side of the parking lot is spaces, right? And then you would be driving along behind these spaces. But on the side that you would be driving along, because the whole lot is one way, you have to pull in one side and pull out the other. And so in the part where you're driving along, right, of course, on that side, in that path, they've put the drop-off blue boxes.
Right.
So you can, reach out your driver's side window and
seems
put
convenient.
Something in the thing. It makes sense. Of course, sometimes it'll get backed up if there's enough people. But the other day,
if it's at 5 o'clock or something like that.
Sure, yeah. The other day I was pulling in, and it wasn't 5 o'clock. Some woman just pulls in, and there's enough room between the spaces and these, this far left side of the lot to go around. But someone pulls in and just stops, and
right in the middle to where you couldn't go around.
Well, no, some people could, but it was far enough over that people might not be inclined to go around.
It was a close call.
Right.
Okay.
So people get back up behind this person, and
how far behind you were you? How many cars?
I was out in Main Street.
Oh, okay, all right.
So and there was cars or whatever, and now cars have packed up behind me.
Yep.
And like some are rapidly trying to switch lanes to get around this mess.
Sure.
Which is causing a hazard. So I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. I hit my horn. Nothing happens. I'm like, okay.
Maybe she didn't hear you.
I'm just waiting. I'm like, seeing if people are going to do anything. I hit my horn again. Still nothing happens.
Now, can you see from where you are? Is she like, she an old lady who's like slowly reaching out and putting mail?
No, but she wasn't at the mailboxes. This is before the mailboxes. She wasn't even doing that.
Oh, okay.
What I believe she was doing was waiting for a space. Because the entire parking lot was full. Because frequently at this post office, for some reason, even when there's no line in the parking or in the post office itself, the parking lot is full. Even though there's no one in line. I don't know what these people are doing. Sitting in their car,
weird.
Walking off. They can't stay
They
in the
don't
park
want to
there
go
for
away.
a while.
Yeah, you don't want to go away too long because there's a 15-minute parking limit, and it is enforced there.
But it's what's strange is that the lot sometimes is just mysteriously full,
Mhm.
and it'll be full. I'll go in, there's no line, and then I'll go out, and it'll be cleared out. It's like, well, where did these people go? They didn't go in the post office.
So she's
it's
just sitting there.
strange. So she's just sitting there, and I guess waiting for a spot. No handicap. I looked to see if she had a handicap.
There are different kinds of parking spot lurkers. There are those that cruise around looking for a spot, hoping to get lucky, playing the parking lot roulette. And there are those that wait.
Yeah. So she wanted a close-up spot, clearly, and I thought maybe handicapped or maybe injured. I could excuse that. But the person behind, in a Prius, of course, wasn't going around. There was enough room to go around. So finally, after 3 or 4 honks, I finally rolled down my window and yelled out, "Go!" Like, just go. I think I yelled, "Go the F around." You know,
road rage.
Yeah, I'm just like, because, well, no, it's not just that, but it's also this person's causing a safety hazard.
Sure.
Like,
somebody could ram into you.
I swear, someone almost got careened. Like, this truck came around, not around me, but around the person or 2 people that were behind me on Main Street, stuck. This truck pulls real quick and almost gets, just creamed in the opposite lane. So, the other thing that I could say about this woman is that maybe she thought the entire lot was full and that she had to wait for a space because there was more parking around the corner. Like, there's a corner that's not visible. But when people finally started going around, they went around and parked it. It was clear.
Plenty of room.
Still nothing happened. Flabbergasted. I don't know. Is
there more to the story?
There's a little bit more.
All right. More coming up here in moments. 8:55, 450, free like freedom. Post office nightmare stories. You're welcome to share one if you've got one. And maybe you work for the post office. I bet you've got some pretty awful stories to tell about the inefficiency and bureaucracy. 855, 450 free like freedom.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try. Dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
I've discovered the next big thing on the internet. Symbi.com is a symbiotic economy with its own currency where people trade services virtually and locally. Forget the old economy. This is your economy. Symbi.com is slick to use and is backed by the same people that helped launch Reddit and Airbnb. I'm not kidding when I say this is the next big thing. Trust me. Go get an account at Symbi.com. Take a look around and post your services. Symbi, SIMBI.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees, no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up, too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days, free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
Fossilized evidence reveals the Spazosaurus was the largest doofus ever to roam the Earth, and a new tandem mobility scooter is released. This is the Onion Week in Review, damn it, and we're going to need you to demonstrate a little decorum. Got it? This week, economists confirm that the booming tear gas industry continues to lead the world's economic recovery. Financial experts confirm that the growing demand for tear gas in countries like Turkey, Brazil, and Greece has increased over 20% annually over the past few years, and is anticipated to continue playing a major role in the world economy.
The market for tear gas just keeps sustaining itself and growing. We can only hope that more people demand tear gas in the coming months, and the recovery will be here sooner than we thought.
In other news, a community is devastated by the sight of an old man struggling up some steps. A stack of unused CDRs turns 5 years old, and this Zoo is really promoting the hell out of their new fruit bat. Your diligence and patience have been noted. Prove yourself further at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. We invite you to take control of the airwaves here. Bring up anything that's on your mind. Our number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, and the Skype username here is LRN.FM. Joining you tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
We're going to get right back into your calls, but Johnson, you were almost done with your story about the lady who just kind of stopped her car in the middle of the post office parking lot, thereby blocking you from being able to even turn into the parking lot fully.
Well, because I was also stuck behind several other people that were blocked.
Right. And you were honking, you yelled out the window, get the F out of the way or whatever.
Well, not, I was actually, it wasn't even at the person, at her, because I was giving her the benefit of the doubt that, maybe this is a person who's got an injury or something, needs a close-up
spot. Elderly. Yep.
But the people behind, it's like, go around.
Right.
Figure it out. You're sitting there forever and ever, and cars are backing up into you out into the road.
Right.
It's like, figure it out.
And there were spaces open later on that they could have gone and pulled
exactly.
into. So what happened? I mean, how did it end up clearing out?
Well, finally, when I'd said that, people woke up oh,
really?
Hey, let's take action. And then everybody went around.
Okay.
And suddenly the whole thing cleared up. But then even as I was walking, I parked immediately. This woman still hadn't parked. There still hadn't been a parking space close up, opened up. And I'm looking, just looking like, is there something wrong with you?
Was she still there when you got out of the post office?
Oh, not when I got out of the post office, but I was actually also kind of waiting to see when's this.
Were you able to tell whether it was an elderly woman or what was
No, it was not an elderly woman, but I was not able to tell whether this person was had some sort of a handicap or something. There was no handicap plate.
Right.
Maybe it was a handicap of a different nature. I don't know. But
wow.
Yeah.
So whether you want to share your post office stories or whatever's on your mind, we go to Dave. He's in Humboldt County, California, listening to KGOE. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, guys. Every once in a while, you really surprise me. On this whole post office story, there's a part of it that you are leaving out completely. And
Dave,
I hope
do me
you're
a
not
favor.
doing
I'm sorry to interrupt you. We've got some audio difficulties here, and you're kind of distorting. Could you just kind of back off from the phone, maybe a couple inches?
Okay.
It might help a little bit.
Okay. Sorry.
That's better. That's
There's
better.
a part of the plate of what's going on with our post office that you folks are neglecting, and I hope not deliberately, because the reality that we need to look at is that corporate greed, America has had a plan to put the post office out of business and switch it all over to FedEx. They're a very non-union kind of a Wall Street.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Right now they have made it a law that the post office has to set aside billions of dollars, I think every month, for retirement funds for people that won't even be hired for years yet. So why is that happening? Why are they doing that? And why are you not giving it top priority, top billing?
Okay, so let me see.
Are you hearing what?
Yeah, I got what you said here. You're upset because the post office is earmarking money for retirements of people who haven't been hired yet. Well, that's part of the problem with the government retirement system. The average person who works a regular job doesn't get the opportunity to have, 90% of their paycheck come in after they've worked somewhere for 20 years. They've, once they quit working, they keep getting paid from that place. That's something that pretty much only applies to government workers. There may be some exceptions for it for like CEOs or whatever in the business world, but the average worker, they don't get that benefit. And so there's a tremendous level of funding that must be laid out in order to shore up these pension funds that they're getting the money from to pay these people out. And that means that the postal rates have to go up, and they're having a tough time. Even with rates going up, they're having a tough time, finding enough mail to deliver to meet their budgetary needs. So they're going to keep having to go back to Congress and beg for more bailouts over time.
I'm thinking that you're deliberately misleading on this, because right now, no agency, no corporation, nobody has to be putting aside funds for retirement for people that they haven't even hired yet.
That's because they don't have the same payout system.
Well, for one, the Postal Employees Union is concerned that they're not going to have money in the future, and they have for very good reason, because
business is falling off.
Yeah, the post office ain't what she used to be.
They run short by billions of dollars every year.
Yeah.
And so they lobbied for that, and they got it. And, a public sector union lobbies for something, and the government has to, pass a law to make it happen. I don't know which side I'm supposed to take on this. But I can say that FedEx doesn't have a union.
UPS
does, and their union is not treated the same way that the post office's union is.
I bet you don't get to work at UPS for 20 years and then get paid with 90% or whatever it is. I'm guessing at 90. I don't know what it is.
They don't get the same retirement, that's for sure.
Right. So that's why it's like that with the post office. We're not obscuring any information here. That's your government at work.
I don't think it has anything to do with the government. Do you?
Sure it does.
I'm seeing corporate greed. America is saying we want billions of dollars out of the postal system. Yes, fax machines and computers have come in and damaged business, but they can adjust to that. They can downsize.
What do you call it? I mean, you're accusing the competitors of greed, but what do you call it when the post office has a guaranteed business for every piece of mail under $1? Every piece of first-class mail out there has to go through the Postal Service. There's no other option. It's illegal for FedEx and UPS to actually compete with them for first-class mail. What do you call that?
I'm not sure what I understand what you're saying.
You call it a monopoly. You call it a monopoly. Do you support monopoly?
You might not be aware of these laws. They're called the Private Express Statutes. It's called the PES laws. The PES laws have been around since Lysander Spooner. Mm-hmm. Lysander Spooner attempted to open a private postal service. The government shut him down and said that it was basically that the postal was too important and that it had to be a government-run monopoly.
No competition.
No competition.
Quasi-government. It isn't government. It's operated completely on how much they get for selling stamps.
But that's not true.
They also get rent breaks in many government buildings.
And they come back to the trough of Congress when they run out of money to pay up the pension system.
Every single year.
There are billions of dollars in the red, and they need Congress to act in order to change their business model. If they just want to, let's say they want to, as they've proposed over the last few years, they haven't done this yet.
Dave called it quasi-government, and I think that's an accurate statement.
That's true, but that doesn't mean it's not government, okay? It is government. It's just not as government as some other government agencies.
It's not as honestly government.
Yeah. Look, they get to go back to the congressional trough and ask for more money to shore up their their funds because they're losing money hand over fist due to basically the internet. They can't change their business model quick enough. The typical business can change their business model as they need to. Now, some of them are more nimble than others. Big corporations are definitely slower than a mom and pop or something like that. But when it comes to the government, or in this case, the quasi-government post office, They can't just have a meeting of the board of directors or the postmaster general. He can't just say, okay, well, we're going to cut back on the delivery dates, because this has been one of the proposed changes, is that they would only deliver on like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday or something like that instead of 6 days a week. And they can't just make that decision. Congress has to approve that. And so, yes, they are still tied into the government by both finances and regulations and, control over the business.
There is a reality there, though, that you guys are not dealing with, and you have to. Right now, our post office has billions and billions and billions of dollars set aside
in debt
to be applied to retirement for postal workers that they aren't even going to be hiring for years to come. And they're being required to do that, not by their union. They're being required to do that by a right-wing Congress right now.
Yeah, I would think that they would be able to, if they're, like a business, if you had that kind of money put away, you'd be able to borrow against it, though. And, I don't understand why they're not choosing not to do that and that kind of thing. Look, I'm not wishing ill on the post office. They have a very difficult job to do. And I suspect
I like the postal lady. She's very nice when she comes here to Jazzy. She always gives her treats. And
well, the postal lady's one thing. The post office as an organization is another. And I just don't think it's going to make it, Dave. What it's turned into is an organization that delivers pizza coupons and car wash vouchers. And that, it's not a business model. It used to be we'd send letters and that sort of thing. And I just had my son send a letter to his grandfather today. It might be.
Has he ever done that before?
He sent out a few letters before.
Oh, that's cute.
But, basically we have him write letters as a form of education.
How many people under the age of 20 or 25 have actually written a letter
I wonder.
in their life? Hey, Dave, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate the discussion. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, 855-450-3733. Coming up, 10 ways you're making your life harder. Like by sending letters. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. You can join us here on Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is right around the corner. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. For an investment of as low as $129, you can have a lifetime mining contract and support the Bitcoin network. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. It's the most profitable pool for miners, paying 120% of the block reward. That's pool.bitcoin.com.
Ooh, get the stinky dog away from me. DINOVITE.com. Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of NomoFlea free.
NomoFlea flea spray kills fleas safely with no poison.
Because it's a polypeptide protein molecule made from
vegetable oil.
Try NomoFlea.
Free this week at Dinovite.com. Everything we tried failed except the Dinovite. DINOVITE.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, July 25th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.39 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,253 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.6 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,585. Antiwar.com reports U.S. missile defense tests have a checkered history, as despite giving the interceptor full data on the size and trajectory and often firing both from the same vessel, sometimes they just aren't able to blow up the dummy target. Last month's failure by the U.S. Navy in the SM-3 Block IIA test was a particularly embarrassing failure, with the USS John Paul Jones firing both test missiles and the interceptor and not managing to get the two to meet in the air. Officials are now blaming this on a single unnamed sailor. Officials have said from the start the interceptor was tracking the target successfully. They now say the sailor pressed the wrong button and the interceptor identified the test target as friendly, self-destructing before it could collide. That's probably a problem they wouldn't have in a real-life situation where they would not have all the trajectory and other information on the target in the first place. At the same time, not having all of that information would make any shoot-down wildly more difficult than the test, raising serious doubts about the system's practical value. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. UPI reports health officials in Virginia on Monday said norovirus likely caused an outbreak of illness earlier in the month at a Chipotle Mexican grill. The Loudoun County Health Department said more than 135 people became ill after eating at the restaurant in Sterling from July 13th through July 16th. Dr. David Goodfriend, director of the department, said 2 ill patrons have tested positive for the same strain of norovirus. Based on symptoms reported in these preliminary laboratory results, the cause of the outbreak is believed to be norovirus. The health department is not aware of any customers becoming ill since the reopening of the facility last Wednesday. Customers reported symptoms of stomach pain, dehydration, and nausea after eating at the Chipotle in Sterling, Virginia. Norovirus, also known as the winter vomiting bug, often occurs after a restaurant employee fails to properly wash their hands after using a restroom. Chipotle has dealt with norovirus issues in the past, notably when nearly 120 Boston College students fell sick after an outbreak at a restaurant near campus in 2016. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports Martin Shkreli, the pharmaceutical entrepreneur vilified as the pharma bro for raising the price of a life-saving drug by 5,000%, said on Monday in federal court that he would not testify in his security fraud trial. Shkreli's statement to U.S. District Judge Kiyo Matsumoto came after jurors had been dismissed for the day in the middle of the testimony from the U.S. prosecutor's last witness in the case, an FBI agent investigating Shkreli. Prosecutors could rest their case as early as Tuesday, and closing arguments could come by the end of the week. Shkreli outraged patients and U.S. lawmakers by raising the price of the anti-infection drug Daraprim to $750 a pill from $13.50 a pill in 2015 when he was CEO of Turing Pharmaceuticals. The charges he now faces are not related to Turing, but rather they focus on Shkreli's management of his previous drug company, Retrofit Incorporated, and of hedge funds MSMB Capital and MSMB Healthcare between 2009 and 2014. Prosecutors have said Shkreli lied about MSMB's finances to lure investors and concealed devastating trading losses from them. They said he paid investors back with money and shares misappropriated from Retrofit, which he founded in 2011, using sham settlement and consulting agreements. Shkreli has pled not guilty to security fraud and conspiracy charges. On July 5th, U.S. District Judge Matsumoto ordered Shkreli not to talk about his case in or around the courthouse after he held an impromptu news conference days earlier. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The military's newly developed unmanned Pentagon spokes drone completed its first live mission today, successfully carrying out a press conference on the war in Iraq. The Mobile Press Engagement Unit is being hailed by Pentagon officials as a revolutionary advancement in protecting military personnel.
The spokes drone proved effective at neutralizing reporters' questions about 85% of the time.
Many officials say the unit has the potential to save countless careers. Using a high-tech gimbal camera and microphone system, the unit tracks reporters' movements and audio output, then analyzes the data to assess the threat level.
It formulates and deploys an effectively vague response.
We have taken away a number of the enemy sanctuaries and gained initiatives in the areas. Eileen.
Military technology experts see the unit as adaptable to a wide variety of treacherous interview scenarios. They estimated it could even withstand situations too hostile for any human spokesman to bear, such as anti-war documentary interviews.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can dial on in here toll free to bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. Well, you know, the last discussion got us curious about the post office and the numbers, and I was looking for recent stories about that because it seems like at least once a year the post office is in the news for their budgetary issues.
No, it's the Republicans. What are you talking about?
Well, that was what our last call.
Past election that the post office has started suddenly, and it's because they're putting money aside for pensions. It's no other reason. They'd be doing perfectly if it weren't for those pesky pensions.
I'm glad you brought that up because I had wanted to make the point that, wait a minute, the post office has been having trouble for quite a long time throughout the Barack Obama administration, during the Bush administration. I mean, this is not one political party's problem or another, and he's disagreeing with what he claims the Republicans are doing to solve the post office's problems.
How much money did the post office lose during 2015?
Let's see here. According to MarketWatch.com, this was a report from last year, so 2016. Their multi-billion-dollar loss from a 10th...
Was the loss during 2016, or was the article from 2016
That's what I'm
the loss during 2015?
Trying to determine. Okay. I suspect, given that this article came out in September, at least a portion of this loss came probably during 2015.
2015, during Obama. Let's just be clear.
Right. Fiscal years tend to happen at different dates than the actual year. But anyway, his complaint was about the Republicans. They're not fixing the problem the way they should. Oh, he believes that
if only my people were in office, everything would be beautiful and flowers.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You can't fix this thing. It's hemorrhaging cash. And it is not going to stop hemorrhaging cash.
Well, you could fix. Okay, so the post office is unable to fix itself, and I think that
Congress ain't going to fix it.
He was making a relevant point to that, and that is an accurate statement. Like, the post office doesn't even get the chance to attempt to compete because they are hamstrung by these governmental ties. Now, I'm not sure that they could. I don't think
if they were not hamstrung. You mean?
I'm pretty sure they don't have a working business model, but they've got an incredible amount of infrastructure.
Yeah.
If they were just cut loose, give them the trucks. I mean, how many trucks should you be talking about here? Give them the trucks, give them the buildings, give them the leases, give them the carts they push the mail around, all that sorting equipment. I mean, what must be, and I don't think I'm exaggerating here, billions of dollars worth of capital.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Give it to them and say, good luck. Good luck.
Turn it into an employee-owned business, is what you're saying.
Well, I don't know. You could turn it into an employee-owned business. That's fine. Because, I mean, talk about, in many cases, employees that just hate their jobs. I mean, the postal people are, in fact, the poster children for job dissatisfaction.
Yes.
So
and mass murder.
We'll see.
At the job.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened a couple of times, but that's happened for lots of different work. And I think it's an unfair characterization, but
that is what going postal means.
One of the problems with
There's
government,
even a video game
with
called
these,
Postal.
Yes, with these
and a movie.
The government bureaucracies that give these great benefits that the post office has.
Hilarious movie, by the way.
I don't know.
Postal.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's so offensive. It's so funny.
One of the problems with them is that they offer great benefits and then, market pay or something about market pay, so people never can leave. Because if you can't go get a job that pays better than the job you're in, then you're going to stay at the job you're in even if you hate your job.
Most people will.
That turns a workplace toxic.
People who hate their job staying in it?
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you imagine a better way to destroy an organization from the inside out? I've got it. Pay that's too high. Compensation that's too high. Especially in the case of government bureaucracies, they've really figured it out over the last few decades, is they keep their benefits like optical and dental, these kind of benefits that none of us have except for government employees, and quasi-government employees like the post office. They keep their benefits high, and that way the employees are, they're like, I just can't leave. My whole family counts on this.
Yep.
Their health's at stake.
Healthcare.
If I leave, the whole family crumbles. So they're stuck. They're stuck going to a job they hate, and that is a recipe for destruction.
And a job where a lot of people hate them, too, because you go into these post offices, and it's just, people, especially when you're forced to stand in line, and there's, they have one person behind the counter and a line of, 15, 20 people, and you realize, this would never happen anywhere else. You just look at it and go, this is ridiculous. And then finally, what happens is after,
and they act oblivious to it.
And they act completely oblivious to it. And then maybe they'll get 2 or 3 deep into that line of 15, the line of 15 that's now become the line of 20. And then they go, can somebody come to the front? After and then you realize, oh wait, there were 2 or 3 people in the back that they could have called to the front.
Some time
5,
ago.
10, 15, 20 minutes ago.
And then they'll close their window as soon as one of them comes up.
Yeah, something like that.
Go on break.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
right at the high peak time.
Something that just does not happen in a profit-driven business where it just makes sense for them to, speed up their computers and speed up their processes and not have 50 million different options and combinations of things because of regulations and ridiculousness, to optimize the options and just... simplify.
Let's talk about that for a second. So at a grocery store, you're going through, your ticket price is going to be what? I don't want
grocery stores you can already pay with your phone.
Right.
For example.
Well, you can, in many cases with a grocery store now, here locally, you can order your stuff and have it there for pickup.
Online and just come in, pick it up.
But
have you tried that yet? I haven't tried it.
I have no. Laura did it. You can talk to her about it. She did it because there was some kind of $10 coupon.
Yeah.
On a $50 order, whatever. And so she felt that was worth doing. Anyhow, I don't want to do that. I want to go through the grocery store and I want to pick my stuff out.
Okay.
Leave me alone. Right. But you're talking about what you say, $100 to $200 ticket.
I think that's probably pretty standard for a typical grocery store visit.
When I go, my wife will send me for just a few things, so it's usually much smaller than that. But I think that her tickets are probably like that.
Yep.
I don't know if you've ever been sent for cilantro, but can you identify this stuff on site?
It's green.
Yes.
Yeah, it's green. And they put it right next to the parsley, which looks just like cilantro.
Yeah, that's true.
I hate that. I can't read it because I don't have my reading glasses on. It's printed too small. I have no idea.
See, market failure. Market failure. We need the government to come in.
I would take a sample of a single leaf.
I can't. I don't know what they taste like.
Parsley's completely tasteless, and cilantro tastes like soap.
Anyway, what I want to do is convince my wife to never send me to the store for cilantro again, and just buy them both and throw them down in front of her.
Garden.
You pick.
Put it in the garden or something.
I don't know. Maybe it doesn't grow in this area.
It probably won't grow very well in this area. Maybe at the beginning if you plant it at the beginning of spring, every spring. But
nonetheless, when you go to the post office, you're spending what, $4? I stood in, I'm there at the cashier taking up 5 minutes of their time
I see what you're saying.
for $4? Yeah. What kind of
I need 2 stamps.
Stupid system is this?
Oh, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. Is the idea that they've got a human being standing there with me for 5 minutes.
They do have a stamp
$4
machine.
purchase.
They do. To their credit,
but I'm not talking about the stamps. I'm talking about sending a package,
sure.
Ian.
And you have to stand there and wait for that.
You have to. The thing, believe me, I'm not standing there for stamps.
Unless you pre-package it and then drop it in their little package drop
I don't
thing.
know I don't send a lot of packages.
Yeah.
I don't know the specifics on all those things. I don't know how to send it. I don't know what the numbers are.
You and everybody else. That's why they stand there and ask a bunch of questions.
Right.
And, yep. So I've got numbers. Because the post office only puts numbers on their site, at least that I was easily able to find, that go back for a decade. But thankfully, the folks over at thoughtco.com have numbers going back a little bit further. Their numbers go back to 2001. And it looks like they had losses in 2001-2002 of $1.7 billion and $676 million. In 03, 04, and 05, and 06, they had surpluses each year, $3.9 billion, $3.1 billion, $1.4 billion, and then $900 million.
Bush?
That's when things
W?
started. That was during W, but it was also during W that things started to turn in the other direction. So it was after 2006 where they racked up a $5.1 billion loss. So they went from a $900 million surplus in 06 to a $5.1 billion loss in 07. And then it was just losses from that point on of multiple billion dollars, 8.5 in 2010, 15.9 billion loss in 2012, 5 billion after that, 5.5. And so we'll give you the latest numbers coming up here in moments. And how far down is their mail delivery? We've got those numbers too, because that's been falling off as well. 855 450 free like freedom. Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com.
Investing is a long-term process. How many times can you think of in the last decade that the stock market has destroyed retirement funds for people just like you and me? For your existing IRA, you need the security that gold has provided for centuries. Remember, gold has never been worth zero. Capital Gold would like to introduce you to the Home Storage Gold IRA. It's a self-directed IRA set up with all the protection and tax benefits of an LLC. But the big difference in this IRA is you invest in gold and you hold it in your possession. You can't do that with stocks. That's security. You can transfer any type of IRA hassle-free in days. Please call right now and learn more, and we'll waive the $500 setup fee and give you a free safe to store your gold. Call 800-281-4224. 800-281-4224. 800-281-4224. That's 800-281-4224.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's a lesson in failure as we continue to dig into the Postal Service and their most recent losses, which have just been, building up for the last decade. According to MarketWatch.com, the most recent losses, the 10th straight annual loss in a row. Now with a total of over $60 billion lost during that stretch of time. The most recent batch, $5.6 billion over the last, I guess it was fiscal year 2015, 2016.
And that really doesn't have anything to do with pensions. It's just a loss.
Yeah. U.S. Postal Service reported a multi-billion-dollar loss. This was in late September of last year. For a 10th straight year as government-mandated benefit expenses overshadowed a fourth year of revenue growth. So, no, Mark, they might be factoring that in, benefit expenses.
Okay.
For the year ended September 30th, the net loss widened to $5.6 billion from $5.1 billion in the same period a year ago, so they lost more than the year prior. The government-sponsored mail carrier that has now recorded a combined $62.4 billion in losses over the last 10 years. The annual losses the post office has reported since fiscal year 2007 have ranged from a low of $2.8 billion to a high of $15.9 billion in 2012. Meanwhile, the post office reported controllable earnings for the year of $610 million, down from $1.2 billion just 1 year ago.
Jeez.
The USPS defines controllable income as results excluding expenses related to the mandated pre-funding of retirement health benefits, actuarial revaluation of retirement liabilities, and non-cash workers' compensation adjustments. Total revenue did rise to $71.4 billion, up 3.8%. And as a result, and this was mostly as a result of an increase in shipping and packages businesses. So they're seeing a lower amount of mail being delivered overall. Pulling up the Postal Service's own website, they've got a chart here of the last decade's worth of numbers. Their total mail volume, so in the last 10 years, so from 2007, it was 212.2 billion pieces of mail that they shipped in a one-year time frame. That is down to 154 for fiscal year 2015-16.
Can you repeat them again? 154.
Down from 212 billion
to
154 billion over a decade.
I don't have a what do they call those things? The box they put the mail in.
A blue postal mailbox?
I don't have a mailbox.
Yeah.
So I don't get their junk anymore, but
you don't have a mailbox on your house is what you're saying.
Right.
Okay.
I have a private mailbox, but that private mailbox doesn't get the junk mail.
Yeah, most of the time it doesn't. Yeah.
For whatever reason, they now if they have if my address is on a list somewhere, I'll get that
there.
junk mail.
Yep.
But I don't get
you don't get the advertisements for resident. Right.
Yeah, I don't get that stuff. And but when I got, that's all I got. It was just junk after bills and junk.
And that's not, is that considered first class or is that like bulk rate?
I don't know, but what I can't understand, I cannot understand why an organization would allow its valuable customers to be advertised to at a discount. Like, why are you telling me that it's going to cost me full boat? What is full boat? Like 50 cents to send a...
Right now, I think it's up to 49 cents.
Okay, so 50 cents to send a letter. Like my son, the 9-year-old, sending a letter to his grandfather, like he's doing this week, he has to pay 50 cents. Or we pay 50 cents. But
that's like 2 teeth.
Somebody, no, that's not. Believe me, it's been a long time.
You don't get 25 cents a teeth these days, huh?
No, I'm afraid you don't.
What is it? $2.50? What's a tooth worth?
$5, man.
What? That's crazy tooth inflation.
Well, you want to be able to buy something with it. What do you want to be able to buy?
Yeah, you can't really buy anything with 25 cents these days, can you?
You can't buy anything with $2.50.
You don't want him to go out buying a candy bar.
Right. I don't want. But that was part of the point was that he would not be able to buy a candy bar. That he'd use it probably for a Lego or something, and you got to have $5 for a Lego. Anyway, he's got to pay full boat, but these advertisers get this huge discount for sending out garbage that I don't want over and over.
Well, you might be interested to know, Mark, that according to the statistics, the garbage is down too.
Yeah, that's not as useful as it was.
According to the numbers here, so I told you about the total mail volume down from 212 billion in 2007 to 154 billion. Let's break that down a little further. First class mail, which is how your son's going to send that letter to grandpa. First class mail down by, let's see, 95.9 billion in 2007 down to 61.2 billion. That's like a 33% drop. Can you imagine 33% of your business just going away? That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
A 33% drop. And marketing mail volume, Mark, also down from 103 billion pieces in 2007 down to 80 billion pieces. So a drop off of like 20 billion pieces right there. And again, a good fifth of their business in just the crap mail is down as well.
So wait, real quick. I just have to interject since we're talking about these rates.
Yeah.
The Tooth Fairy is feeling a bit more generous. According to Delta Dental's 13th annual Tooth Fairy survey, cash payouts have soared during the past year to an all-time high average of $4.66. Good for a 75 increase from 2015. Last year, the Tooth Fairy paid about $290.6 million, I think, or something.
That's funny. We've never really talked about that before. So, Mark, you're above average apparently in the
by 33 cents.
It's above average.
Slightly. Okay, so here's what happened. My son, lost his first tooth. He's walking around at like 4 years old, 5 years old. I don't know how old you are when you lose your first tooth, but it was some time ago.
Well, wait a minute. Cash payouts for a first lost tooth are up to about 10% to $572.
So you make more on the first tooth.
So the first tooth, he got short shrifted here.
No. Nope. Let me tell you how it went. So, my wife is, she's using old, 1980s rates on the tooth here, and I'm like
50 cents maximum.
And poor Jack, he can't do math. He doesn't know what money is. A penny's as good as a quarter to him
right.
at 5 years old.
50 pennies,
right?
and then he'll feel great.
So I jump in real quick, and I'm like, whoa. I turn him around, walk him back into the bedroom. We got to have a meeting here before all this goes down.
You became his negotiator?
I set in negotiating immediately for him, and I said, "Look, bud, I think we need to start talking about this rate, because once you set this rate, it's going to be difficult to reset it later."
Yeah, that's true.
So here's what I think we should do. First off, that lady will do anything for this tooth. I say we go for $10 on that first tooth, and then make her feel like she got a deal, and then just tell her $5 for each tooth thereafter. And she tried to buck. She seriously, she wasn't going to give the kid $5. I'm like, what are you going to do with $1? What is he going to do with $1? He's to lose 5 teeth to buy a Lego.
Hey, look, buddy, the Tooth Fairy gets teeth from all over the place. Your teeth ain't that special.
The Tooth Fairy is imaginary. And we're talking about the only currency the kid has.
Does he
his
know
body parts?
Does he know that the Tooth Fairy's imaginary?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's selling his body parts. We all know that's
illegal.
That's very illegal.
Well, at the very least,
imagine if you were actually trying to sell a tooth and see what you could get for it, or something. See if the feds showed up to stop you.
Stand in the median like the bums do. Tooth for sale.
Just one left. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. I think we've made the point here, Postal Service not having a good time financially. But how much longer do they have left? How much longer can they keep sucking money out of the taxpayer to stay afloat? Barely. 855-450-FREE like freedom. Join us here. This is Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Is that Ellen painting her garage?
Yesterday she was trimming her hedges.
What's her secret?
I heard she was eating this new super berry called the aronia berry.
Aronia what?
Aronia berries from superberries.com. They're known for having one of the highest levels of antioxidants that helps with overall wellness.
Where can we get them?
Go to superberries.com/radio. And right now we get a free smoothie recipe book with our order. Plus we can save $4 at checkout.
I can't wait. I've got lots of projects I need to get done.
Yes, you do.
Choose health. Eat purple. Superberries.com.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us right here to take control of the airwaves and bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Mark, you are styling here tonight in the studio, wearing something that looks a little bit warm for the season. You've got a kind of a fuzzy-looking, or I don't know, what's that made out of? Fleece?
Fleece.
63 out tonight.
Yeah, it's not exactly cold, but he is
it's
wearing
warm enough for a vest.
He's wearing a vest, and it looks like it would be something you'd see people wear in the fall and the winter time.
It's a fashionable vest. It looks good, and in fact, it stops bullets.
Not when you have it unzipped like that, though.
Well, no, you should have it.
It'll still stop them if
if it hits the parts that are not zipped. Right. Then you're playing with your own luck.
Either way, you're still better off wearing that unzipped than not having it on at all.
Indeed, I just unzipped it because I'm a little warm.
Especially if somebody shoots you from behind.
It's made by BulletBlocker.com, which is a company that was founded by an Army Ranger and a firearms instructor. There's two different people, by the way, with the goal of making backpacks for kids to protect them in case of school shootings. This is around the Sandy Hook time frame. And now they have a huge selection of clothing, backpacks, briefcases, and all sorts of things that could save your life. The products are attractive, well-made, right here in the U.S., and you got to have a nice jacket, so you might as well get one that stops bullets. Get something for the family, too. This isn't the kind of thing that you have a second chance at. BulletBlocker.com. If the lives in your family are priceless, protect them at BulletBlocker.com.
All right, our toll-free number, if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. As we're here on Free Talk Live. Johnson, you brought a story in tonight. Of course, anybody's still welcome to comment on the Postal Service and their inevitable failure. But your story is about 10 ways that people are making their own lives harder. And where is the source of the story?
Thought Catalog.
All right.
So I think everybody does probably one of these or maybe two of these things. And, they're very sort of interesting little things that everybody does.
Now, I was to say, going from 10 to 1 or 1 to 10?
1 to 10. I don't think the order necessarily matters
Got it.
in this particular one. So here's the first one. You ascribe intent. Another driver cut you off. Your friend never texted you back. Your coworker went to lunch without you. Everyone can find a reason to be offended on a steady basis. So what caused you to be offended? You assigned bad intent to these otherwise innocuous actions. You took it as a personal affront, a slap in the face. Happy people do not do this. They don't take things personally. They don't ascribe intent to the unintentional actions of others.
There's a good chance that whoever cut you off or whatever thing happened that affected you, there's a good chance that person didn't even know you were there or give one brief moment's thought about you. They were busy thinking of their own problems, their own life, their own issues. And
that guy that yelled, "Get the F out of the way," while you were at the post office probably just wanted to, have some business to go about,
Right.
Don't ascribe intent to that. They probably didn't want to murder you.
I think this is good advice, though, generally, that you generally, unless you ask, you don't know what somebody's intentions were, and it's probably much more innocent than you were making it out to be in your mind. Because your mind will come up with all these scenarios of what might have happened, and probably they're all wrong.
Yeah, your mind's a very vain thing. It is,
it's all about you.
Right. By its very nature, it must make everything about itself. Because if it didn't, it's a survival tool. It isn't some great computer or anything like that. It's a survival tool, and it needs to make everything about you because that's a great way to make you survive. But it's not real great in sort of ascribing, blame and cause and likelihood and a few things like this. So, yeah, I think it's best to sort of step back and take a deep breath when you're spending all your time. Really, there's very few winners in the blame game,
Well, look at that amazing segue you generated there. Number 2, you're the star of your own movie. This is a thing that people do that is, making their lives worse.
Okay.
It is little wonder that you believe that the world revolves around you. After all, you have been at the very center of every experience you have ever had.
Sure.
You are the star of your own movie. You wrote the script. You know how you want it to unfold. You even know how you want it to end. Unfortunately, you forgot to give your script to anyone else. As a result, people are unaware of the role that they're supposed to play. Then, when they screw up their lines or fail to fall in love with you or they don't give you a promotion, your movie is ruined.
You get mad.
Yeah. Lose your script. Let someone else star once in a while. Welcome new characters. Embrace plot twists.
Ooh, I like that.
3, you fast forward to apocalypse.
Yes. Well, this is another part of human nature.
This is worrying, right? That's what we're talking about here?
I mean, you
the worst thing could happen.
Go ahead, read the part, and then I'll make my comments.
I have a bad habit of this is I being the author of this.
Yeah.
I have a bad habit of fast forwarding everything to its worst possible outcome and being pleasantly surprised when the result is marginally better than utter disaster or jail time. My mind unnecessarily wrestles with events that aren't even remotely likely. My sore throat is cancer. My lost driver's license fell into the hands of an Al-Qaeda operative who will wipe out my savings account. Negativity only breeds more negativity. It is a happiness riptide. It will carry you away from the shore, and if you don't swim away from it, it will pull you under.
Yeah,
boy, that's true.
What people do is that they, first off, the person cuts you off. You're on the way to work. I'm going to be late for work. I'm going to get fired. I'm going to...
Can't pay the rent.
Can't pay the rent. My family's going to be out on the street. My children are starving and dying. It's my fault. I'm a failure as a human being, right? Like, it all has to do with this person cut you off. And this is the trick that the survival mechanism known as your brain plays on you, because it needs you to succeed against that other primate over there, right? Like, we're both going for the antelope and only one of us can have it. That kind of thought process. And it's geared for survival at its core, the sort of amygdala lizard brain part. It's the rest of it that we've added on over time. The bells and whistles allow us to work together and cooperate and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it would seem like if you're too lost in worry and lost in thinking about what might happen, that actually might hinder your ability to survive. I mean, there's a difference between what you're talking about, Mark, as a survival mechanism and the actual survival mechanisms of, peripheral vision, seeing motion, and, ducking when somebody's swinging at you or whatever. There's a bear running at you from, the side of your peripheral vision. These are real survival mechanisms. If you're standing there daydreaming about what might happen because you got cut off in traffic, then you might not see the bear come up beside you and, take a swipe at your innards or something like that. So I would say that overthinking like that is actually a danger to survival if you're actually in a place where you need to be surviving.
Sure.
But I agree generally that being negative is only really going to hurt you, and worrying is a waste of time. It's a waste of your brain power. I mean, you've got such a creative mind. I mean, the fact that you can think up all these bizarre and unlikely scenarios as far as what could happen to you, which likely won't happen to you, it shows that you are a very creative person. But if you put that creativity to some other kind of productive use rather than just worrying, then that would be a better thing.
Yeah. Better expenditure of energy.
Right.
Well, the next on the list, you have unrealistic and or uncommunicated expectations. Among their many shortcomings of your family and friends is the harsh reality that they cannot read your mind or anticipate your whims. Did your boyfriend forget the 6.5-month anniversary of your first date?
Oh, that's funny.
Or your first movie date, I'm sorry.
I kind of felt like this might be written for women. Go ahead.
No, I think it's pretty generic. Did your girlfriend refuse to call at an appointed hour? Did your friend fail to fawn over your tribal tattoo? Unmet expectations will be at the root of most of your unhappiness in life. Minimize your expectations, maximize your joy.
Yep, that's good advice because people are going to fall short a lot of the time. And if that's what you're expecting, then they'll meet your expectations there. Let's continue. What are we on number? What number?
We're on number 5, waiting for a sign.
All right, so we're going to get into that coming up here in moments. Your calls and thoughts are welcome here. If you want to add to the list, join in with your comments and thoughts. You're certainly welcome to do so. 855-450-FREE, like Freedom, 855-450-3733. And you can Skype into the show at Skype username LRN.FM. It's free talk.
Shortly. Wait for it.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. healthexcellenceselect.com. healthexcellenceselect.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
And membership is only $9.95.
Yep. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing. To be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com. Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us right here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. And you can bring up anything that you want. Now, we're talking about 10 ways that you are making your life harder, and maybe you don't realize it. So we're going to help you realize it. Hopefully, here with this this list, you'll probably hear some things on this list that will resonate with you. And do we want to do a quick recap, or just keep it going?
Sure, I can do the recap from 1 through 4 here.
And this is from what site?
This is from Thought Catalog.
Thought Catalog. All right.
First one is you ascribe an intent to things that don't have any intent.
Yeah, don't do that.
You are the star of your own movie, and you need to lose the script to your movie. Just embrace plot twists. Let somebody else star for a while. You fast forward to apocalypse, meaning you imagine the worst is going to happen in every situation. You have
terrible thing to do.
Unrealistic or uncommunicated expectations, meaning you need to minimize your expectations, maximize your joy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in case you've been waiting for it,
number 5,
coming, the sign. So you're waiting for a sign. The author here says, I have a friend who won't make a decision without receiving a sign. I suppose she is waiting on a trumpeted announcement from God. She is constantly paralyzed by a divinity that is either heavily obscured or frustratingly tardy. I'm not disavowing that fate or a higher power plays a role in our lives. I'm just saying that it is better to help shape fate than to be governed by it.
Yes, well, they say you make your own luck in life.
No fate but what you make.
And I think there is something to that. If you are just waiting around for life to happen, life will happen as you wait, but you won't be, really the creator in that. You won't have a creative role at all. Now, certainly everybody's on their own script, as discussed earlier. You've got the world's revolving around you, but so is that true of everyone else, or so it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And so, everybody's just kind of doing their own thing. If you're just letting things happen, you're not at cause in your experience. Now, certainly things will still happen to you that, you don't expect or you weren't planning for. That's just life. But if you, if you just kind of live life by default, you kind of get that life out of it. You get, not that much out of it. But if you seize the day, so to speak, if you, get out there and create opportunities for yourself where none previously existed, I think you'll see more success out of that. So you have to have the intention to see, kind of what you want to come into existence and reality. And I think the universe will respond to that at some level.
This next one I'm probably guilty of personally here. So this one is 6. You don't take risks. 2 words, live boldly. Every single time you are offered a choice that involves greater risk, take it. You will lose on many of them, but when you add them up at the end of your life, you'll be glad you did. And to me, this sounds like idiocy.
All right, why?
If you're offered a choice that involves greater risk, take it. There are some horrible things that have happened to me in my life if I'd taken all the greater risk decisions.
Yeah, that's
true. Risk should be taken certainly based on reward and the likelihood of that reward.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
That
You
sort
should
of thing.
analyze the risk.
Yeah, I almost feel like playing it safe has led me to most of the good things in my life by not taking risks.
I love risk taking. I generally agree with the philosophy here, but I agree with Mark that you shouldn't blindly take risks.
I would call you, Ian, a person who is risk averse. I generally would.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, when it comes to business choices and things like that, you think very hard about a decision before you make it. Your answer to everything basically is no before it's yes. Like, you're going to need to convince me.
There's a difference between personal experience, there's personal risks and business risks, for sure.
Well, personal risks are often pointless. I mean, what risk are we talking about here?
Well,
going out on a date?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
ending up naked in somebody's lawn at the end of the night.
It could.
There are risks that you can take, substances you can imbibe, whether or not you're going to do that or not.
Most of the risks, I would say,
sleep with that,
that
possibly disease-ridden thing. There are personal choices that you can make that involve risk, for sure.
Yeah, I totally disagree with you on this, Mark.
Personal choices involving risk, I think, are bad.
Not
generally.
going for some business proposal doesn't have anything to do with one's propensity for taking risk. I mean, if you come to me with some advertiser or some idea that is a poppycock, cockamamie scheme, and I tell you no.
But that's what you think about all schemes, right? Like, but that's where you start
But that's
from.
not what. Okay, so everybody has for people who take risks. Some of them take them in different ways, right?
Yes.
So my old roommate used to like jumping out of planes. That for me, not my kind of risk.
I don't even know if that's really a risk. That's a hobby.
If your chute doesn't come out, you're not going to be doing it again.
Sure.
Okay,
I
so there's
will
a
say
risk
this.
there.
If I were not risk averse, when I had first found about Bitcoin, had I jumped in, I would be a multimillionaire several times over.
Yeah.
Right. Who got into Bitcoin first, Ian? You or I?
We both kind of got dragged into it, but
no, we did not. My advertiser, for one, I had Bitcoin before you did. I had it on the first day we met Gavin Andreessen.
Yeah.
Secondly,
when he paid you for the lunch,
made the proposal from Roger Ver. Look, man, I'm telling you, from a business standpoint, I've been working with you for going on 18 years now.
The only reason we're here now is because of my propensity to take risks. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying you don't take risks.
Yeah.
I say you tend to be risk averse.
No, disagree. The only reason you're sitting here right now is because of my willingness to take risks.
On this show, that's absolutely true.
That's the only reason why. So just because I'm not in favor of every business proposal doesn't mean I'm not in favor of taking risks. Do you understand? There's a difference there.
Yes, but do you understand that simply because you have taken a risk or
I've taken quite a few risks.
You've taken some risks, doesn't mean that you're much of a risk taker. I'm not saying you don't take risks, Ian. That's a different statement than you tend to be risk averse. I think you make pretty good decisions. I think that sometimes you could take more risks, and you consider yourself a risk taker, and that's interesting because I don't consider you that at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, what would you say then, though, there's the difference between being a risk taker and, you said that there's a difference, but you didn't explain what you thought that difference was.
No, he was talking about he doesn't like some decisions I've made about business proposals.
I didn't say that.
And that's what you're referring to. That's what you're you're referring to, because I say no to most of your proposals.
When I make a proposal, my expectation is that
I'm going to say no.
The immediate thought process is no.
Right. That's because I'm not interested generally in changing how this system operates. If it's working, don't try to fix it, kind of thing. So just because I'm not interested in drastic changes or even other changes to the how Free Talk Live works, or whatever the proposal might be, doesn't mean I'm not interested in taking risks. I take risks all the time, with whether it's the activism that I do, or whether it's the business that I do in general. There are a bunch of things that I've done are risky. I'm not going to get into the list of them because it would not serve me to do that at this time. So let's move on.
Just watch videos at freaking.com.
Those are some of the risks that I've taken, but long before that, I've been taking risks. Anyway, go ahead with more.
I would not call you risk averse.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Well, here's one.
And I found it to be mostly worthwhile to take risks.
Here's one that might make people unhappy. You constantly compare your life to others. A few years ago, I was invited to a nice party at a big warehouse downtown. I was enjoying a smooth jazz, the box wine, and crustless sandwiches.
Sign me up.
What more could a guy want? Later in the evening, I noticed a steady parade of well-heeled people slide past and disappear into another room. I peeked and saw a large party with beautiful revelers dancing and carrying on like Bacchus. Suddenly, my gig wasn't as fun as it had been because it didn't appear to measure up to the party next door, a party I didn't even know existed until just moments before. I do this frequently. Those people are having more fun. Mary has a bigger boat. Craig gets all the lucky breaks. Ted has more money.
There's a commandment about this one.
Yeah. Stop it. I'll always remember what Teddy Roosevelt said. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's a good one.
Envy is a terrible, terrible emotion. It doesn't serve you at all. Consider that all of us, listening to my voice right now, have a better life than a 16th century king did.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a better life than a lot of people in the world right now today.
Absolutely.
Living in poverty.
And, are we the richest people around? Nope. Believe me, if one of these political parties that wants me to envy my neighbor, had their druthers, I'd be all worried about how much money, whatever particular billionaire had or whatever. Billionaire is practically an insult. Most of the ones that I read about are very generous people attempting to give their money away.
Hold on a second. Weren't you just saying on this show like a week ago how evil billionaires are, and that you think they're all, arch statists who want to just take from people? I mean, what the hell?
I didn't say they were arch statists. I said they were statists.
The toll-free number, now you're saying they're being very generous. 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. We're going to continue here. We got, 3 more? On this list. Coming up here in hour number 3. On the way, you can join us here as well on Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought about mining Bitcoin? Did the costs, constant equipment upgrades, and maintenance scare you off? Do you want to make Bitcoin every day in the same mining pool that Ian and I do? Pool.bitcoin.com. There's a 100% uptime guarantee. The website's easy to use, and you can calculate what you're going to make right there on the website at pool.bitcoin.com. Help steer Bitcoin towards the liberating currency that Satoshi Nakamoto meant it to be. I'm not just making money at pool.bitcoin.com. I'm doing activism while I sleep. Pool.bitcoin.com. What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com. Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment walking down the street to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, July 25th, 2017. Silver's trading at $16.39 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,253 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.6 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,585. Antiwar.com reports U.S. missile defense tests have a checkered history, as despite giving the interceptor full data on the size and trajectory and often firing both from the same vessel, sometimes they just aren't able to blow up the dummy target. Last month's failure by the U.S. Navy in the SM-3 Block IIA test was a particularly embarrassing failure, with the USS John Paul Jones firing both test missiles and the interceptor and not managing to get the two to meet in the air. Officials are now blaming this on a single unnamed sailor. Officials have said from the start the interceptor was tracking the target successfully. They now say the sailor pressed the wrong button and the interceptor identified the test target as friendly, self-destructing before it could collide. That's probably a problem they wouldn't have in a real-life situation where they would not have all the trajectory and other information on the target in the first place. At the same time, not having all of that information would make any shoot-down wildly more difficult than the test, raising serious doubts about the system's practical value. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. UPI reports health officials in Virginia on Monday said norovirus likely caused an outbreak of illness earlier in the month at a Chipotle Mexican grill. The Loudoun County Health Department said more than 135 people became ill after eating at the restaurant in Sterling from July 13th through July 16th. Dr. David Goodfriend, director of the department, said 2 ill patrons have tested positive for the same strain of norovirus. Based on symptoms reported in these preliminary laboratory results, the cause of the outbreak is believed to be norovirus. The health department is not aware of any customers becoming ill since the reopening of the facility last Wednesday. Customers reported symptoms of stomach pain, dehydration, and nausea after eating at the Chipotle in Sterling, Virginia. Norovirus, also known as the winter vomiting bug, often occurs after a restaurant employee fails to properly wash their hands after using a restroom. Chipotle has dealt with norovirus issues in the past, notably when nearly 120 Boston College students fell sick after an outbreak at a restaurant near campus in 2016. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports Martin Shkreli, the pharmaceutical entrepreneur vilified as the pharma bro for raising the price of a life-saving drug by 5,000%, said on Monday in federal court that he would not testify in his security fraud trial. Shkreli's statement to U.S. District Judge Kiyo Matsumoto came after jurors had been dismissed for the day in the middle of the testimony from the U.S. prosecutor's last witness in the case, an FBI agent investigating Shkreli. Prosecutors could rest their case as early as Tuesday, and closing arguments could come by the end of the week. Shkreli outraged patients and U.S. lawmakers by raising the price of the anti-infection drug Daraprim to $750 a pill from $13.50 a pill in 2015 when he was CEO of Turing Pharmaceuticals. The charges he now faces are not related to Turing, but rather they focus on Shkreli's management of his previous drug company, Retrofin Incorporated, and of hedge funds MSMB Capital and MSMB Healthcare between 2009 and 2014. Prosecutors have said Shkreli lied about MSMB's finances to lure investors and concealed devastating trading losses from them. They said he paid investors back with money and shares misappropriated from Retrofin, which he founded in 2011, using sham settlement and consulting agreements. Shkreli has pled not guilty to security fraud and conspiracy charges. On July 5th, U.S. District Judge Matsumoto ordered Shkreli not to talk about his case in or around the courthouse after he held an impromptu news conference days earlier. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
According to members of the 1998 University of Virginia graduating class, Governor Jim Gilmore's commencement speech to them continues to be a deep well of wisdom and guidance even 15 years after it was delivered. Classmates confirmed that while friends at other universities heard from such figures as Jimmy Carter, Kurt Vonnegut, and the Dalai Lama, the inspirational words of Virginia's 68th governor continues to profoundly inform their lives and actions.
Whenever I face a dark moment in my life, I just think back to Governor Gilmore's speech, and it almost instantly puts things back into perspective. It's like he said, go forward and be successful and achieve your hopes and dreams and aspirations. All I can say is I hope I've lived up to that incredible lesson.
And in local news, a 5-year-old figures he has about a year left of peeing at urinals with his pants all the way down. In other news, using the amount of toothpaste shown in commercials is a disgusting experience. A grizzled proofreader has seen it written both ways, and a cackling Warren Buffett burns his entire fortune in front of the nation.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You dial toll free. Join us on the radio waves here, where you can take control of those airwaves and bring up anything that you want. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
As we continue here, Johnson sharing with us the 10 ways that you are making your life more difficult. And we've been through 7, I think, out of the 10. We got
That's correct. Yep.
3 more to go. If you missed the first 7, you can always grab our archive later over at freetalklive.com. So let's keep it going here. And what's the source again on this?
Thoughtcatalog.com.
All right.
So the next one here is that you let other people steal from you. If you had $1 million cash under your mattress, would you check it regularly and take precautions to ensure it is safe? Oh, I'm sorry. You would check it regularly.
Probably, yeah.
And take precautions to ensure it is safe. The one possession you have that is more important than money is time. Yep. But you don't do anything to protect it. In fact, you willingly give it to thieves. Selfish people, egotistical people, negative people, people who won't shut up. Treat your time like Fort Knox. Guard it closely and give it only to those who deserve and respect it.
I don't know. I mean, I tend to agree with that particular viewpoint, but I, at the same time, tend to, be a little bit on the generous side. So I've had, folks who I don't know from Adam, contact me like, oh, yeah, I heard that, you're, this radio host, and I wanted to start my own radio show and, get into syndication and wanted to pick your brain about it. And, just to be, kind, I will sit, on the phone and talk to these folks about that. I've never met them before. I don't know them at all. I don't expect that it will turn into anything for me in the future, but, it might. And I sort of live by the rule, like, would I have wanted somebody to do that for me? Then if the answer is yes, then I will do that for those folks too.
Yeah, Yes, there are people that will waste your time.
But yes, your time is limited. That's true.
And you've got to be careful of that. But, give your time away if it's enjoyable. If you're enjoying talking to this person or that person, then do that. So, I don't know. I mean, it sounds rather stingy to me.
Yeah. But I get where they're coming from. I mean, obviously, you can only do that so much. I think nobody calls me every day asking those questions. It's only once a year or twice a year that I get a call like that. So it's one thing to do it every now and then. It'd be another thing if that's all I was doing all day long. In that case, you'd probably have to start charging for the consultations.
Right. So number 9 here is you can't or won't let go. These are getting a little harder, aren't they? That's because sometimes you have to work at happiness. Some hurdles are too difficult to clear by simply adjusting your point of view or adopting a positive mindset. Do you need to forgive someone? Do you need to turn your back on a failed relationship? Do you need to come to terms with the death of a loved one? Life is full of loss, but in a sense, real happiness would not be possible without it.
That's true.
It helps us appreciate and savor the things that really matter. It helps us grow. It can help us help others grow. Closure is a word for people who have never really suffered. There is no such thing. Just try to manage your loss. Put it in perspective. You will always have some regret and doubt about your loss. You may always second-guess yourself. If only you had said this or tried that. You are not alone. Find someone who understands and talk to that person. Reach out for support. If all else fails, try number 10 below, this next one.
So certainly when you're talking about the death of a loved one, that's, it's like closure is just time helping to heal wounds. But when you're talking about, like say an old relationship, it mentions
forgiveness.
That too.
Talking about
forgiveness in an old relationship or whatever. And, strange. I don't still feel this gaping hole or any hole surrounding most of my, failed relationships.
Yeah, sure.
Every relationship you have, it
take
results
something away from it.
in either death or, failure, right? Like it's gonna, be a breakup.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't feel anything about. I don't feel anything about these things. I have had a woman who was my fiance. I intended to marry her. We didn't get married, and my only thoughts on it at this point are,
good thing that didn't happen.
Right, and that's it. Yeah. I don't spend.
You're not pining over any of those
months not thinking about that particular relationship, as I do the relationships that came before it. Big fat hairy deal. So I'm not sure that this whole you're always going to feel a loss thing is particularly accurate in that area.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe I'm just
they say time heals all wounds.
Wooden jerk. I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, I get where you're coming from, Mark, in that every relationship that fails because, for whatever the reasons were, it wasn't going to work out. You guys maybe grew apart or you weren't right together in the first place. And you just didn't realize that, and it took some time to figure those things out. But usually you end up learning about the things that you don't want to do wrong again the next time. So you can always look at it as a positive learning experience, even though it might hurt in the moment to perhaps lose somebody that you really cared about. Ultimately, it's for the best. And it was interesting. I was actually watching the React channel on YouTube, and they had, I don't know if it was a React or their other one. They have 2 channels, or at least 2 channels. And they were doing divorce selfies. Have you heard about these?
No, what?
It's really interesting. So couples have been doing divorce selfies for, I don't know, like a couple of years or something. It's not, I don't know how new of a trend this is, but it's a thing where a couple who had been married on their final divorce papers signing, they put their paper on a table, and then the two of them are mugging for the camera with a big smile on their face and thumbs up or
we're divorced
or whatever. Hey, we're as happy now being divorced as we were when we were getting together because we've seen that we're better off this way. This is the right choice. We shouldn't feel bad because there's all this sort of societal baggage about divorce. Ooh, marriage is forever. You can't get a divorce.
Right.
But isn't it worse to be in a marriage where you hate the marriage, where you hate, every day being in the same house as this person who you've grown apart from or whatever the reasons were? I think it's an interesting trend. And it was interesting seeing people's reactions to it because it was like an adults react, so they got the teens react and the elders react and kids. So it was an adults react to this, and some of them were in favor of it, and some of them were like, "Oh, this is bad. Marriage is so important."
Well, I think that can cause relationships the breakup to be worse.
A divorce selfie?
No. The whole make sure you stay together thing.
Yeah, it's terrible.
There's two things that I've seen that sort of make people who are no longer in a relationship sort of, things are fine. All of my exes are friends on Facebook because, they don't hate my guts.
Yeah.
And first off, you've got to be an adult about this, right?
Right.
All those parting jabs, say them in the mirror. Just keep them to yourself. You're not helping that person to grow into a better human being, I assure you. So, be an adult about it. And secondly, don't hold on to the relationship longer than it needs to be. Because if you're hanging on so tight that everybody's in there for a lot longer, so long that they're getting bitter, that's one of the things that just sort of makes them all really bad at the end.
Yeah. Who would want to exist in a relationship like that?
Well, I mean, sometimes it can be hard to let go. There's no doubt, but sometimes it's for the best. You gotta line things up. You gotta do a little social math in your head and say, is this the right person for me? How have things been up to this point? How long's it been? What's the likelihood of us seeing a change in this particular area? I got some news for you. If you're going to see a change, it isn't going to be by much. Right? Like, people don't change much.
Right.
If they're going to change, it's going to be because you left them, not because you threatened to leave them.
That's probably true.
And so you're probably not going to get a heck of a lot of change in the area that you're wanting there. Sometimes, people get back together and it works out, but
not often.
I don't know. I can't say one thing or the other, but I can say that you broke up for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Number 10.
All right, number 10. You don't give back. So it talks about dealing with loss again from the last one where he says, if reach out for support, but if all else fails, try number 10. And number 10 is you don't give back. So
let's get into it. Coming up here in a moment. 855-450 free like freedom. 855-450-3733. And you can Skype on in here at Skype username LRN.FM. This is Free Talk Live.
Warning. If you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-957-9489. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-957-9489. That's 1-800-957-9489. 1-800-957-9489.
A great president once said, "The 9 most feared words in the English language. I am from the government and I'm here to help." Adequacy of loss absorbing capacity. You call that help? That's the mandate approved by the G20. The banks can steal your money. Well, they can't steal your gold and silver. That you fully control. You can have it delivered into an IRA at a depository under lock and key, where you can hide it where no one can find it, not even your wife. What? Sorry, honey. Your CDs, money market accounts, and savings accounts are all at risk. Call GSI Exchange at 800-474-9159. We have 75 years of market experience. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. 800-474-9159. Call now and get a free bank failure survival guide. 800-474-9159.
If you're looking for work, it's a process of elimination, and you're trying not to be eliminated. So here's a tip for making the cut, and this might seem subtle, but to the person interviewing you, it's not. There is a world of difference between applicants who convey, "I need a job," and those who simply ooze, "I want to work, especially in these lean times when many you're competing with will seem desperate in I'll take anything mode. If you convey specific interest in this job at this company, you will be conspicuous. Thus, the value of going to school on the company you're applying to before the interview. With money and attention so tight now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to bipcot.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. We'll take your calls about whatever's on your mind as we continue through the 10th number on the list of 10 ways you're making your life harder. Johnson's got that for you. We're going to continue here in moments. You can bring up anything that you want. Our number here, 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. If you want to help build a better financial system for everyone, you really ought to join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, private, and easy. Fees are low, and transactions are fast, or can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized and run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today and find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now, so go to Dash.org and find out why. Johnson, you were just getting into number 10 on the list of 10 ways you're making your life more difficult. What was number 10 again?
Number 10 is that you don't give back.
All right.
So number 9 was you can't and won't let go, and they were talking about dealing with loss, and that one of the ways to deal with loss might be to give back. Immerse yourself in doing good, volunteer, get involved in life.
Right.
It doesn't even have to be a big structured thing. Say a kind word, encourage someone, pay a visit to someone who is alone. Get away from your self-absorption. When it comes down to it, there are 2 types of people in this world. There are givers and there are takers. Givers are happy, takers are miserable. What are you?
Good advice. Don't have much to add to that one.
Yep.
Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733.
Yeah, takers are always putting together excuses and reasons why they should be getting more and why other people, and why taking is good, and just sort of destroying all that there is that's been created because they're busy taking. You know, I mean, you got to create. You should be a net positive in the world.
I don't know. I kind of think of this, though, because I don't think it's as simple as givers and takers. They say there's 2 types of peoples in this world. I immediately think of like sort of the Ayn Randian kind of philosophy, and I don't think that it just comes down to givers and takers, because I think that there's also I think it's not givers and takers, it's producers and takers, because I think that there are people who produce but don't necessarily, they're not just giving, they're doing things, and they don't necessarily have to give. they could let other people earn, they give opportunities, but they don't necessarily just give away their time and give away their stuff.
When you give you an opportunity to a taker, you feel like you've lost.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Right. You put together a business arrangement.
And they don't want to give it. These people, sometimes producers do not want to give to takers, but they can still give.
Yep.
Can still be somebody who gives, but you don't necessarily want to give to people who are just taking.
Everybody knows what a taker's like.
Yeah.
Be less like that.
Yeah.
Just got some good news for you here from the world of Bitcoin. It's Cointelegraph.com. Great website. Does a lot of good reporting. I like their artwork, too. South Korea has now officially legalized international Bitcoin transfers and is on the verge of providing a regulatory framework for Bitcoin trading platforms and exchanges.
Interesting timing, considering the proximity here to August 1st.
Now, this is actually maybe like a week or two old at this point, but it is from this last month. On July 3rd, Representative Park Young-jin of the ruling Democratic Party of Korea revealed that the South Korean government is ready to regulate the Bitcoin market. According to Representative Park, he submitted 3 revisions to build a set of regulatory frameworks for Bitcoin users and businesses to further facilitate the growth of South Korea's Bitcoin market and industry. Now, normally when I hear about regulations, I would say that is not a good thing. However, sometimes markets like it when governments regulate things. You remember the ETF thing that was bandied about earlier this year? I think it was
the exchange traded fund.
Supposedly there's still
several
in the pipeline.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah, the Zuckerbergs are working on that, right?
There was a bunch of hullabaloo.
I think it was theirs that was
Winklevoss twins. Yeah,
it was them who was rejected.
That's correct. Their ETF thing was rejected, but there was all this hullabaloo about it. If the government approves this ETF, these 3 letters, if they say yes to these 3 letters, then all these investors are going to pour money into Bitcoin, and the idea was that the Bitcoin price would go up. And if it is indeed true that South Korea has somehow made it easier to do Bitcoin, so it says here they've legalized international Bitcoin transfers. Well, does that mean that it was illegal before in South Korea to transfer with Bitcoin, or does that mean that they're now, expressly, sort of like how New Hampshire has done this year, that New Hampshire made it so that businesses that are only doing business with like cryptocurrencies and doing essentially money transmission with cryptocurrencies. So if Johnson, you give me some Bitcoin with the instruction that I am to give it to Mark. Why you would do that, I don't know, but that's what a Bitcoin money transmitter would be. Those are exempted from the money transmitter statutes here in New Hampshire. Now, they didn't have to do that, but they did, and that makes it so there's like an extra level of protection from Bitcoin only or crypto only businesses being regulated by the banking commission here. So government, regulation, government legalizations, it can have a mixed bag of an effect.
It kind of seems inevitable that Bitcoin's going to break out of this because the governments themselves are going to have to compete.
What do you mean?
Realistically,
compete with what?
Governments might try and regulate Bitcoin, but ultimately the government that regulates Bitcoin the least is probably going to end up deriving the most benefits and success.
Well, we've got a story about Mauritius wanting to be the Ethereum island, so we'll see how that goes.
It's like, eventually one of these governments is going to have to figure out, probably through the hard way, that, we regulated Bitcoin, and it's like, look at all these other governments who have like let the go, and gotten out of the way and probably gained some sort of benefit and success from that. I think is going to end up being what happens.
Of the revisions that Park proposed to the financial regulators of South Korea, they'd requested Bitcoin businesses and trading platforms retain capital of at least $436,000 and data processing facilities for know your customer and anti-money laundering purposes. So that's not good because it actually makes it so it's harder to do those businesses. It keeps people out who can't afford the, $436,000 and all the hoop jumping that would be required to do all the KYC AML nonsense, which of course does absolutely nothing to actually stop any determined criminals who want to launder their funds. Since then, the South Korean government has introduced several regulatory frameworks for the Bitcoin industry. And although the South Korean Bitcoin industry has not been fully regulated as of yet, the South Korean government officially legalized Bitcoin service providers to facilitate payments, transfers, and trades. Local publications, including the Korea Herald, reported on the newly revised South Korean Foreign Exchange Transactions Act and has started to allow fintech companies and Bitcoin service providers to be approved by the Financial Supervisory Service, the financial regulator of South Korea. So apparently they've also legalized Bitcoin as a remittance method, which a remittance is where somebody in one country sends a payment to, let's say, a family member or something like that in another country. That's sort of the traditional my understanding of what a remittance is. So, to some extent, this is like a mixed bag. And some people would argue that Bitcoin needs to have these sorts of things happen in order for it to be seen as legitimate and get major investor money. But others would say that this is bad news because we don't want the government getting involved in regulation of Bitcoin. More coming up. Your thoughts, welcome.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA-packed technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon, or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.
If there's a toxic chemical, biological, gas, smoke emergency while traveling at home or on your job, are you protected? Are you prepared? There are over 400,000 fires in the USA every year. Up to 85% of all deaths in a fire are due to smoke inhalation. 3 minutes without air, and we as humans will die. Be prepared and escape safely with our Safe Escape smoke hoods, giving you up to 60 minutes of breathable air protection. Order yours online at ase-safety.com. That's ase-safety.com. And get up to 40% off plus free shipping.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
Sunfest is on the line in California.
Yeah, the greatest danger is that they're destroying the sun and the earth.
Whoa. Slow down, Sunfest.
System.
Slow down. Who is destroying the sun?
The economy. Everything that's happening is a job hunt. It's a job tax.
What are you talking about?
Definitely. The sun is waning, the water is rising, and we need the sun to dry it. When you have an economy that's creating jobs on a war scale, 24 hours a day, the cosmos can't keep up with it, let alone the sun. There's dark Andromeda, which is hurling at us. If you're not informed, you can go out and get the information.
That's our name tonight.
Stop your sexist attack on women, whereas you hear anything
You
that
are
the men
so
have to say.
outrageous. Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free and bring up anything you want. Our number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. 855-450-3733. With you tonight, you've got Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
And we will go to your calls and thoughts. You're welcome to bring up absolutely anything that happens to be on your mind. I do want to remind you that if you want to help support Free Talk Live, please go to shop.freetalklive.com. You'll find links there to Amazon and some other stores. But you go to the Amazon links, UK, Canada, US, any one of those is fine. Free Talk Live will get a portion of your purchase price when you start your shopping through shop.freetalklive.com. Let's go out to the seacoast of New Hampshire, where our buddy and former co-host Derek J. Freeman is on the line. Hey.
Hey, it's the beachhead of Liberty out here in Portsmouth.
Are you calling us from the Free State Bitcoin shop?
No, I'm calling you from my home, but I was just at the shop, and I wanted to tell you a cool story about what happened there today.
Yeah. But first, before you do that, tell our listeners what it is, because it's brand new.
Well, it is a new store that opened in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, in the downtown area, and it is America's first crypto-only retail store.
Whoa.
And
now, how do you know? How do you know that's never been done? And has it been done anywhere outside of America, outside of the United States, or?
Yes, the store that has the first claim to that is the Crypto Anarchy Institute in Prague. And so they got the world's first, but I think they only take Litecoin. It used to be Bitcoin only.
That's
and
weird.
Because of the high fees, they have transitioned to Litecoin only because people are buying coffee shop stuff.
Right.
And it doesn't make sense to buy a $2 coffee with a $2 fee. So.
Nope. Although the fees are down over the last few weeks, so that's some of the good news about Bitcoin. But yeah, you guys swung the door open there, what, about a week ago? When was opening? It was a soft open, but pretty recently.
Yeah, we've been open 6 days now, but we haven't had our grand opening. I'm still assembling furniture and putting merchandise out, but we figured why not use this as our personal office and get some work done while we're setting up shop. And it's been amazing. People just wander in and they want stuff. And that's actually the cool story that I wanted to share with you today.
Yeah.
A guy and his wife, he was about 60, came in and was just doing some random shopping. He's a Portsmouth resident and wanted to buy some gifts for some friends of his. His wife was looking to get some coasters that were actually made by a Porcupine, a Free State Project participant that we stock in our store, some coasters and a Bitcoin t-shirt. And he had a Bitcoin wallet on his phone already.
Yeah.
Didn't know this guy from anything. And I said, Bitcoin probably has high fees for a $5 coaster. You might want to use a different cryptocurrency. Had a Litecoin wallet right on his phone.
Wow.
Was ready to spend. Scanned the address, and we were done instantly. And he loved it. And I don't know this guy, and I just wanted to say, could you imagine this happening anywhere? I can't.
It's amazing.
I didn't expect this to happen.
I mean, do you think the word has gotten around? Have you asked people, how did you know we were here? I noticed that you put some pictures up on the Free State Bitcoin shop on Facebook of Steven, your boyfriend partner, who was doing some very nice artwork on one of those blackboard signs outside. So you guys do have some signage out now, right?
We do. We have some signs, but we're still waiting for our official sign that says Free State Bitcoin Shop.
Yeah.
People can find us on Facebook, but for the most part, it's about 80% of people who walk in the door are just wandering down the street, and they say, "Oh, you've got some T-shirts. I want to buy one." And we have to turn some people away because they don't have cryptocurrency, and we tell them how to get it.
Yep.
And that's really one of the missions of the store, is to help people learn
Turn
about
people away. to get people prepared to spend money and just send them right out the door.
No, the mission is to help people learn about Bitcoin and how to use it, and to get started with that, and the reasons why, they might prefer.
Love it. You want people to learn it, use it, spread it.
That's right.
Yep. Exactly. So that's the cool story I wanted to share with you. A 60-year-old man walked into my store, didn't even know we existed, and had a Litecoin wallet and spent $35 in the store today.
All right. And so you guys are open 7 days a week. Don't you think you're going to get burned out? That's a pretty brutal schedule.
No, it's so much fun. Are you kidding me? It's the greatest thing I could be doing with my time.
That's so
From
great.
10
I
to
love
6
it.
every day, I'm talking to people about Bitcoin, and they've never heard of it, or they have heard, and they want to talk about what's going on with the fork on August 1st. And I'm advertising meetups and learning new things, setting up wallets. And when it's not busy, I get my own work done. So
Perfect.
It's the greatest.
Yeah, and you guys are just getting this thing started. I mean, word probably is going to get around. I mean, it's the middle of the summer here, obviously in New Hampshire, and maybe it'll slow down during the wintertime. But either way, like you said, you can still use the place as an office. You've got to be somewhere doing something during the day, and this allows you to spread the word about Bitcoin at the same time. I'm super excited for you guys. I think it's awesome. And I loved what you told me off the air yesterday about this, that it's sort of the reverse feeling of doing an outreach booth. Because you and I, Derek, we've done Bitcoin outreach at like the county fair, where it's people are at the fair, they're passing by, you got to kind of pitch out to them like a carnival barker or whatever, and get their attention.
Get your Bitcoin, yeah.
Yep, pretty much, and get them to come over and talk. And we had some successes doing that, but in this one, they're just coming to you. It's a completely different feeling.
It's a pull rather than a push.
Yeah.
And so with the outreach booth, we're doing a push where we're trying to advertise Bitcoin. With this, it's like, hey, I want this shirt. And I'm like, great. The only way to get it is Bitcoin. They're like, what? How? Okay, how do I do that? Or, hey, what is this Bitcoin thing? And there's a lot of legitimacy to having a brick and mortar shop.
Yes.
That they take you a lot more seriously. And then our neighbors, a sunglasses shop and another retail store, theater, they're saying, okay, how do we get set up to take Bitcoin? And they're asking us, because they see that this is a thing. This is happening, and we want to be part of
have like a Bitcoin ghetto forming in
I love it.
Business
you
ghetto.
guys are going to be challenging Keene's dominance very soon. I'm excited for you, because Keene's the #1 most Bitcoin accepting city out there. But I'm thinking Portsmouth is going to be nibbling at our heels here very, very shortly if you guys keep doing this.
Well, Keene is a huge inspiration, and you're wonderful competitors. And so I look forward to increasing numbers on both sides.
I'd be worried we'd get a brick thrown through the front window if we did something like that here, just because there's so many haters in this town. You guys don't have the same kind of situation out there, do you?
I don't think so, because one guy who came in, he had Bitcoin and Ethereum, and he and his wife just stumbled in, and they saw one of the Escape to Keene flyers that I had out, and they said, "Oh, are you guys Free Staters?" And I said, "Yeah."
Well, it is in the name of the business. Free State Bitcoin Shop.
They didn't flinch. They didn't think that was weird. I think they were actually proud that they knew what it was and they recognized it. They were like, "Oh, you're free." It's like you guys are Amish, like you're different.
Yeah.
Awesome. I definitely want to hear more cool stories from the front lines of the Free State Bitcoin store as you acquire them, Derek J.
I will have many to share.
All right, looking forward to it, and looking forward to whenever the grand opening is out there. I'm hoping that I can take the night off and come out for whatever it is.
Soon.
All right, man.
We will let your listeners know first.
Thanks for the call tonight, Derek J. Freeman there over at the Free State Bitcoin Shop. Hey, what's the website for those not on the Facebook, because Facebook's terrible?
FreeStateBitcoin.com.
FreeStateBitcoin.com. Perfect. And we'll talk to you soon. Derek J. Freeman there from FreeStateBitcoin.com as we continue your calls and thoughts. What a cool idea.
Do we need to develop our own dialogue and quirky wardrobe like the Amish, all Free Staters?
Oh, we've got our own quirky dialogue, I can assure you.
Derek J's got a great wardrobe.
Try to explain aggression to people.
Is it bow ties and statism, statist? I don't know. What's the dialogue?
Diction, words like aggression.
Oh, yeah.
And
non-aggression principle.
The nap. And a variety of things like that. This culty lingo jargon stuff.
Jargon.
Yeah.
All right, toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Wow, what a really cool project. I'm so excited for them out there on the seacoast. It actually gives me a reason to want to spend more time out there. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. You can join us here. What kind of cool activist projects are you involved in? It's Free Talk Live.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash at dash.org and help build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Are you happy washing your hands with harsh chemicals? Are you happy doing laundry with detergents? Are you happy paying high prices? Find your happiness with Pure Soap. These all-natural, earth-friendly Pure Soaps are the very best you've ever used. Buy in bulk. Get a 12, 36, or 48-month supply, or get items individually and still save big. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now, earth-friendly and natural soaps. Your family deserves the best. Happiness is 5starsoap.com. Why not put your money up the drain for a change? See them at 5starsoap.com or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog. Cal Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils. See their full selection of soaps at 5starsoap.com. That's F-I-V-E starsoap.com. Or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Forget the road.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you're scared me.
You
What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Stouffer's, helping bring your family together with wholesome dinner options, even on the busiest of nights. Find dinner table ideas to bring your family together at letsfixdinner.com. To get kids involved in dinnertime conversation, ask specific questions, not broad ones. Instead of what happened today at school, try what was the best thing that happened today. The more specific you are, the more they'll have to say. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us here at 855 450 free like freedom. 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, and the Skype username is LRN.FM. Tonight in the studio with you, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
We're going to go back to your phone calls and thoughts. Also, do want to let you know how to support Free Talk Live. One of the ways to do it is to go to the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. amp.freetalklive.com. Advertise, market, and promote. That's what the AMP stands for. And it's $5 a month. That's $5 that we will invest into Free Talk Live so we can get on new radio stations around the country, bring new internet listeners on board, expose new people to the ideas of freedom. So head over to AMP, amp.freetalklive.com. And also, Mark, the fundraiser for the Ugandan orphanage that our listeners have been building remotely by contributing to this fundraiser and having their contributions matched and matched again. So double matching.
That's right.
For your contribution. If you donate $50, it turns into $150. So it's amazing, and it's thanks to Jax.io. Jax, the official wallet of Free Talk Live, and also Sell411 at GetSell411.com. Fundraiser's going strong. What's happening? What's the latest?
We're going to be sending some money to Ndafuna come tomorrow.
That's a person.
Yep, that's his person. That's his name.
Yep.
Through Kamua Saul. I'm sending it to Ndafuna Johnson. And if you want to get your money in, so that you can be included in this particular moonshot, then by God, do it. We're going to be sending Bitcoin over. This is a completely Bitcoin-funded project.
Really?
Yeah. That's what I've been sending over.
So you're accepting... if somebody wants to pay with PayPal, you'll accept it.
I'll take it, but then I'm sending.
You're
over,
converting that to Bitcoin,
right? I'm sending over that value in Bitcoin, and we'll be hopefully. I'm not sure whether they're putting the walls on first or the roof on first to the second story, but they're going to do one of those things. They asked me what I wanted to do first. I'm like, why are you asking me? I don't build buildings.
Right.
I give you the money to build a building.
You did build your house.
I did, but my house is not made out of handmade clay bricks.
Sure.
So I don't consider myself to be prepared for that. Nonetheless, I'm sure they'll do a fine job. They'll decide. They haven't told me whether they're putting the walls or the roof on. They didn't make that decision one way or the other. But either way, the money's going out tomorrow, and if you want to be in on that shipment, now's the time to do it. This is your real opportunity here is to help kids have a place to sleep, have a place to take a shower so that they can go to school in the morning. There's about 40 kids that are currently sleeping on the floor in a room that doesn't have electricity at all. And they are going to school. But it would be they'd learn more, they'd do better if they were cleaner and ready to take on the day, and that's what I'm hoping for. So please go to hope.freetalklive.com, make a donation, help me help them. hope.freetalklive.com.
I bet this is the first orphanage ever built with Bitcoin. I'm just going to go out on a limb, say this has never been done before, but seems pretty unique. Some people have bought their house with Bitcoin, but I wouldn't say that's even happened that many times in the world. But to build something from scratch with all Bitcoin contributions, that's a big
can't
deal.
say they're buying the materials from, with Bitcoin. They're taking the Bitcoin, they're converting it to local currency.
Sure, but they wouldn't have the local currency if it weren't for the Bitcoin that were sent to them.
Yep.
At hope.freetalklive.com. Let's go to the phones, to the fun. It's Doug in New Jersey, listening on the radio somewhere. Doug, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey, do you know how you're listening tonight?
Yeah, I've got one of those dial radios, and I believe it's somewhere around 1300 a.m.
All
in that
right.
area somewhere.
Very good. Go ahead with your
Hey,
thoughts.
my name is Doug, S-I-T-T-E-L. I have a YouTube channel. And I used to work with some officials in northern Jersey that were erasing some transcripts, some things they didn't want you to find out in court. And I was approached by the judge's friend, and he said, look, if anybody finds out, I'm just going to throw you in jail. So I recorded those to protect myself.
Oh, boy.
And put it on my YouTube channel. And I went down to South Carolina. They were firing me from my job. Said, look, if you talk, we're just going to fire you, et cetera. And there was a guy that was sitting next to me at Huddle House, and he said everything that he was putting in my food and water. And there was a guy sitting next to me named Mr. Burgess. And Mr. Burgess witnessed that. And they went to his house and started messing around with him.
Hold on, I'm lost. Wait a minute. There was a guy sitting next to you at Huddle House who said something about...
Conversation.
What did he say to you about food and water? I missed that.
I said, what are you guys doing to my food and water? He said, we're putting sodium fluoride and rat poison and small increments of methamphetamine. And the guy next to me heard it. His name is Mr. Burgess. So then I said, okay, now we're going to attack Mr. Burgess. This guy was...
Hold on, I'm still confused. So you were talking with someone at the Huddle House, which is a restaurant, like a Waffle House.
He approached me at Huddle House.
Okay.
And I recorded all the conversations, Doug, S-I-T-T-E-L, on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
And then he says, okay, we're going to go after this one and this one and this one.
And then he said he's gonna go after Mr. Burgess. Now, does Mr. Burgess know you, or was he just some random dude sitting at...
He was sitting there as a witness, and he witnessed the conversations. He said, I heard what you said and what you're doing to this kid's food. So then...
Now, wait, kid? Are you saying you're a kid, or you have a child?
No. I'm a 50-year-old man. I recorded these conversations and put them on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
So you had in my town, I'm basically the cops. My dad's a cop. I met two girls that were running a prostitution business. One was a judge's daughter and a police commissioner's daughter. Well, the neighbors were very concerned about their kids and asked me, are they running a prostitution business? There's dozens of cars coming. I said, yeah, I left.
What are they worried about? What are they worried about their kids for? Do their kids have like $200 to be able to hump the mayor's daughter?
The neighborhood moms approached me and said, we don't want this in our neighborhood. Are they running a prostitution business? I said, yes. I was at the house.
Are they just jealous because they can't run like a hairstyling business out of their house?
No, I don't know the answer to that.
Huh.
So then I recorded these guys making the threats, and they said, look, if anybody finds out what we're doing, there's a 14-minute, it says drag this to 14 minutes, Doug, S-I-T-T-E-L, YouTube. He says, if you talk, we're going to throw you in jail if anybody finds out what we're doing.
Now, how do we know that these recordings are legitimate? I mean, how do we know you're not just acting with somebody?
Well, in that town, there was a police officer, and he's in jail for soliciting a 12-year-old girl. And the prosecutor in North Jersey, they went to get to her and said, look, it was all a big misunderstanding. They threw the guy in jail.
Mm-hmm.
So now I went down to South Carolina. You can hear them firing me from my job. If anybody finds out, we're going to fire you from your job. Each firing I recorded, and I went to South Carolina, and they started attacking pretty much a lot of people. There was a church down there, and I recorded the pastor. He is a very corrupt cop. He says, we're hacking into everybody's emails, and we're looking at everybody that you know, and there's people on the list.
Now, why would he tell you this? I mean, is he trying to scare you?
Yes, he has to stop me from telling anyone what happened, or a lot of people are going to go to jail.
And what are you telling what are you saying happened exactly, besides that you made all these recordings of people threatening and poisoning and all that? Is there something else that this is all leading to?
Well, when the man at Huddle House, his name is Cameron, you can hear him on my YouTube, says this person and this person and this person are going to get gangrene in their organs. And we've got a hit on this guy, and this guy.
Gangrene?
And that
How does one get gangrene anyway?
You have to listen to the tapes of Keith Hudson.
Isn't that something that happens to like a wound? Isn't gangrene something that happens to like an open wound that isn't treated properly?
There is a picture of a hand over a glass. Is a police officer named Keith Hudson. He says, I'm going to beat you to death with steel pipes.
Maybe it's time to leave New Jersey. I mean, maybe that's the solution here. It sounds like it's a pretty bad scene.
So I left South Carolina. The guy says, when you get to New Jersey, we're going to pull you over and just throw you in jail with no trial.
Where are you calling from right now? You're in Jersey right now.
I'm calling from Trenton, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And there is a thing going on with Jeff Sessions. I know Janine Pirro from Westchester. I've had phone conversations.
I don't know
with
who
her.
that is.
Janine Pirro was the Westchester DA that was going after Mr. Durst.
Uh-huh.
She says, Doug, we're not going to prosecute any of these guys. So then she said...
So she's in on it, is what you're saying.
What's that?
She's in on it.
Yeah. She said if Hillary wins or Trump wins, we're going to go after the district attorney or the AG, and we're going to tell him not to prosecute anybody that you have on your YouTube.
It sounds like you're screwed.
What is this YouTube channel again?
Well, not really. I have all these conversations on Doug.
But if they're not going to...
Hold on, let him say it.
He's
I
mentioned it 7 times.
I haven't been able to write it down. What? S-I-T...
Doug, S-I-T-T-E-L, Sittel.
I'm sure he's just going to be rambling there, too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Hey, Doug, thanks for the call tonight. It sounds like a lot of intrigue. I don't know how much of it is, real or, in your head or whatever, but I appreciate the call, and I wish you the best of luck. It sounds like you probably don't want to stay in New Jersey because I don't think you're going to get any justice for anything that actually has gone wrong.
These are like 3 and 4 hours long.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow night. freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, July 25th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.39 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,253 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.6 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,585. Antiwar.com reports U.S. missile defense tests have a checkered history, as despite giving the interceptor full data on the size and trajectory and often firing both from the same vessel, sometimes they just aren't able to blow up the dummy target. Last month's failure by the U.S. Navy in the SM-3 Block IIA test was a particularly embarrassing failure, with the USS John Paul Jones firing both test missiles and the interceptor and not managing to get the two to meet in the air. Officials are now blaming this on a single unnamed sailor. Officials have said from the start the interceptor was tracking the target successfully. They now say the sailor pressed the wrong button and the interceptor identified the test target as friendly, self-destructing before it could collide. That's probably a problem they wouldn't have in a real-life situation where they would not have all the trajectory and other information on the target in the first place. At the same time, not having all of that information would make any shoot-down wildly more difficult than the test, raising serious doubts about the system's practical value. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. UPI reports health officials in Virginia on Monday said norovirus likely caused an outbreak of illness earlier in the month at a Chipotle Mexican grill. The Loudoun County Health Department said more than 135 people became ill after eating at the restaurant in Sterling from July 13th through July 16th. Dr. David Goodfriend, director of the department, said 2 ill patrons have tested positive for the same strain of norovirus. Based on symptoms reported and these preliminary laboratory results, the cause of the outbreak is believed to be norovirus. The health department is not aware of any customers becoming ill since the reopening of the facility last Wednesday. Customers reported symptoms of stomach pain, dehydration, and nausea after eating at the Chipotle in Sterling, Virginia. Norovirus, also known as the winter vomiting bug, often occurs after a restaurant employee fails to properly wash their hands after using a restroom. Chipotle has dealt with norovirus issues in the past, notably when nearly 120 Boston College students fell sick after an outbreak at a restaurant near campus in 2016. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports Martin Shkreli, the pharmaceutical entrepreneur vilified as the pharma bro for raising the price of a life-saving drug by 5,000%, said on Monday in federal court that he would not testify in his security fraud trial. Shkreli's statement to U.S. District Judge Kiyo Matsumoto came after jurors had been dismissed for the day in the middle of the testimony from the U.S. prosecutor's last witness in the case, an FBI agent investigating Shkreli. Prosecutors could rest their case as early as Tuesday, and closing arguments could come by the end of the week. Shkreli outraged patients and U.S. lawmakers by raising the price of the anti-infection drug Daraprim to $750 a pill from $13.50 a pill in 2015 when he was CEO of Turing Pharmaceuticals. The charges he now faces are not related to Turing, but rather they focus on Shkreli's management of his previous drug company, Retrofit Incorporated, and of hedge funds MSMB Capital and MSMB Healthcare between 2009 and 2014. Prosecutors have said Shkreli lied about MSMB's finances to lure investors and concealed devastating trading losses from them. They said he paid investors back with money and shares misappropriated from Retrofit, which he founded in 2011, using sham settlement and consulting agreements. Shkreli has pled not guilty to security fraud and conspiracy charges. On July 5th, U.S. District Judge Matsumoto ordered Shkreli not to talk about his case in or around the courthouse after he held an impromptu news conference days earlier. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
If you're the parent of a man-child, you know how frustrating it can sometimes be. The piercing sound of his video games waking you up at 2 in the morning. His insatiable hunger and inability to cook anything for himself. The messes he makes. The stress can be overwhelming.
Something will set them off, such as their man-child will tell them that they don't know how to tie a tie even though they're almost 30. They'll start shaking them and yelling and saying, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why don't you get a real job instead of working part-time at a board game store?"
The results of shaken man-child syndrome are devastating. Trauma caused by the brain colliding with the inside of the man-child's skull can lead to cognitive disabilities, making it even more unlikely he'll finally marry the girl he's been having a long-distance online relationship with for 6 years. Or it can even lead to death.
He's not spilling cereal all over the couch or leaving his beard clippings in the bathroom sink intentionally. He truly does not know what he's doing.
For the Lab Report, I'm Stuart Adams.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Hello, 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 hello. There it is. I'm here. Hello. Yeah, we're all good. Go ahead and unplug this computer. I apologize. We were sitting